lini umefika tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another edition of Afrique 24. Today, we are going to have a very interesting discussion here on our program. First and foremost, let me say uh, saying good evening and good morning wherever you are. A lot is happening in our country, and that's why we are here. Today, we delve into the current political climate in Kenya following the recent Gen Z's demonstration and the subsequent developments that have unfolded after the dissolution of the cabinet. The demonstration indeed have had a very significant impact into the Kenyan politics. Ruto having dissolved his cabinet, sparking a quest to form a grand coalition government. Additionally, there is now a split in a group uh, in Azimio, thus complicating the political landscape even further. The burning question on everyone's mind is whether Gen Z's protest will come to an halt. Let's explore the developments and their potential implications. With me in the studio is Boniface Kimanzi. Please join and introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mzalendo. Thank you, Freak 24. This is wonderful. Of course, we are here so that we can discuss more about what is happening in our country. Of course, remember in Freak 24, we always give you all the kind of news that is political, sports, love, and also when it comes to matters concerning lands. In Freak 24, 24 channel, whether you're following us in East Africa, you're following us in Atlantic Ocean, you're following us in Indian Ocean, parts of South Africa. Good year. Brand Ambassador, I know you have been waiting for us. We are here. So, Africa 24, we are here so that we can keep you entertained, informed, and also get to know what is happening in our country and also in East Africa. And of course, don't forget that Rwanda and that elections whereby Paul Kagame won with 99%. Here, you're going to be told more about politics. Don't forget, this is our weekend. We are country days. I will always start with introducing what is happening. We have 5 days to Paris Olympics that are happening in France, Paramas. So if you follow what is Paris Olympics 2024, Team Kenya has already traveled to Paris Olympics. We have one of the best athletes there, the likes of Mary Moran, the likes of Chebet, the likes of Ferdinand. The Shujaa has already arrived in Miramas. So we have Paris Olympics, we have Premier League, we have La Liga. So all those you're going to be told here in Africa 24. Back to political talk. Thank you, Zalendo, so that we can pioneer this show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for telling us about the Paris games which are happening in France. I saw the mayor of Paris starting swimming in one of the rivers in the middle of Paris where they will have the games. That was a good gesture from the mayor. Now, I'm also joined here by Geoffrey Mburu. Geoffrey Mburu is one of our panelists here in Africa. Mburu, please introduce yourself and tell us where you are. Mburu, Mburu, if you can hear me. Yeah, I think Mburu is still at work and he never misses a show on a freak, even if he's on duty. That tells you how this show is popular. On the other hand, I want to introduce my able Gypsy Corner. Gypsy Corner, the brand ambassador for Africa. Finally, we know who you are. uh, you have really changed your name to something else. So, Gypsy, Karibu Sana, we don't forget. Oh, you are saying don't forget there is a Diamond League in London. Remember, our sports anchor Kimanzi did not even remember about the Diamond League in London. I think Kimanzi, you need to tell us more about what is happening in London
Mzalendo,
over
I only
the
quoted, Mzalendo, I only quoted about the Paris Olympics because this is what is cooking all of our country, Kenya, and also in the whole world. Because even the players who are playing the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, they have been
Mhm.
invited to that Paris Olympics. We know that
And
our team Kenya landed in the Paris Paramas last 2 weeks ago. So we are
let me
focusing
ask
with the Paris Olympics.
you another question: is Omonyala running in the Diamond League?
Absolutely.
Omonyala. Oh, he will be there. So we'll be saying go go go
We
Omonyala, go
we have
Omonyala.
in Diamond League we have Mary Mora, we have Ferdinand Omanyala, and we have the Judith Chebet. Those are our
Oh,
top athletes that are participating in those competitions. So we expect
yes.
3 goals from Mary
Mhm,
Mora. We have Chebet
mhm.
still. Yeah. So our marathon is the headliner in the Paris Olympics.
Oh, that is wonderful. Then that is wonderful. We hope to cheer them on until they win the gold in their various disciplines, and of course, Afrique will be bringing for you the live happening in the Diamond League and of course and the Paris Games. Back to our story of the day: the politics in Kenya. So much has happened. So much is unfolding. A split in Azimio is imminent as Kalonzo and his other co-principal are now not seeing eye to eye. And the reason being, if my guess is right, is the cabinet positions which are supposed to be shared. Kalonzo's team feel that they need not to join William Ruto's government. William Ruto has insisted that he has to form a coalition government following the Gen Z's demonstrations. Remember, our viewers and our panelists here that both in the comment section and here on the platform, Mr. Kimanzi, that the situation in Kenya is now getting more complicated. We have the list that was out that again is causing a lot of controversy. Because one of the demands by the Gen Zs was to not recycle the cabinet. They wanted them all to go and never to come back. What do you make of this kind of situation that is happening in our country?
First, I want to say that I'm hurt. I am not just happy with what is happening in our country because I never believed that one day Baba will betray us, loyal followers who have been following Raila Amolo Odinga for a long time. So I am still shocked if Raila accepted the dialogue with William Samuel Ruto, and this is one way that gives us a signal that it is the end time of Azimio, unless Alonso, Eugene, and other leaders come together to save us because Baba has decided to settle in UDA government. They have already absorbed him. So I think the followers, the loyal followers who have been adhering to Azimio, La Umoja coalition, they have been betrayed. But we don't know what is happening because we saw the press of Kalonzo Musyoka being interfered by the goons after the exit of Raila Amolo Odinga. So we don't know what is happening. So we are still shocked as a country. The Gen Z are still shocked. Agwambo has decided to betray us. So what are we going to do? So I think the situation in our country is so confusing because others are supporting Raila, they're saying, Baba, if he has decided to join the government, then why should us not follow what he's saying? So it is sad in our country. Still, we have a dilemma in the country. The leading government, that is the UDA, they are now given this mandate to involve public when they are choosing the cabinet. Still, they gave us the first 11, but the Kenyans are not agreeing with what they have given us. The names are not what Kenyans want. So I think the remaining 3 years we are going to use it during the Mandamano and protest, because people are not happy with what is happened. I think we need to rebuild, and I will say William Ruto is not lucky because the Gen Z and the revolution is happening while he has that first term. So it's going to be tough for him. He has to prepare. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my mic was tripping there. Now, you brought a very interesting point that you are one of the people who supported Raila Odinga, and now he has decided to betray you. I don't know how you personally feel that you've been betrayed by Raila Odinga, because this is a personal choice, or is it a personal choice, or it is the ODM? Remember, they had a meeting before Kalonzo's Azimio's meeting. In the meeting, they resolved to support William Ruto's government. So I don't know whether you are aware of that the leadership in ODM decided to support William Ruto's government. And to make it even worse for you, Kimanzi, the chairman, party chairman, Mr. John Badi, has said that the remaining slots that Azimio other coalition members don't want to take be given to ODM. So this situation is getting trickier. My question to you is that your house is divided. You in ODM it's divided. There are people who want to join William Ruto's government. Then there's a clique that is feeling betrayed, like yourself. Now, are you are you going to support this move by Raila Odinga? Boni.
No, I'm not going to support, because I never voted for UDA government. So I'm going to be away from politics, because if Raila has joined, then who is going to lead us? The few leaders that we have, they are still just having, when they get the seat, they are going to forget about us. So I'm not going to support Raila. Uh, Perhaps I will just stay away from politics, because I think this politics is now becoming a very tough thing in our country. You follow it, you are going to be left behind. People are not even following what is happening. So I'm not
Goodia
going to
is
agree with what
Goodia
Raila
Goodia
has done.
Goodia is saying something there that is very very interesting. Gypsy Corner. Raila has to nominate 6 out of the 7 MPs. Then Ruto will add two. Three more to fill the second batch. They are waiting for things to cool down. I like your opinion, Gypsy Corner, but this is politics. This is politics. I don't know whether Gashagwa has occupied the 8 slots that he demanded from the Kikuyu community. Sijui kama amepatiwa hizo nafasi zote akazichukua. Then hizi zingine zikuwe zinajazwa na raia wa kawaida. Now, I also don't know whether Gen Z wamepatiwa cabinet position. Mr. Kimanzi, wewe kama mojawapo wa Gen Z mmepatiwa kakitu
Hakuna. Hatujapewa kitu
Mume,
bado, still we are waiting for the next bunch.
now do you have anybody in mind that you'd want to see in the cabinet of William Ruto?
Me myself, I qualify to be a cabinet secretary for the Ministry of Sports.
Aya, jipigie debe. Here, Mr. President, we have Boniface Kimanzi who says that he wants to be in your cabinet and is qualified to be the minister for sport. He has got a lot of passion in sport, but he has not had any experience in leadership. So I wonder if that is one of the credentials that you are going to remove from the requirement of a cabinet secretary, because you have to have some experience. You cannot just come from nowhere. But although these are political appointments, I saw Rashid was appointed in was it Uhuru's cabinet? Yeah, Rashid Echesa aliandikwa job. He did not have the education, but he was given a job only to be kicked out very fast. So this position is very tricky. But let us get to the main point. I feel, this is my opinion as Mzalendo, that William Ruto had the best opportunity to calm things down and do the right thing. And doing the right thing was simply asking Kenyans to come up with a list of people they think are good for the position, or ask an institution like Price Waterhouse Coopers to advertise for those positions, and then he gets the right people to do the job, the technocrats to do the job. But you see, again, uh, being a politician, you have to satisfy your political base, the people who supported you politically. I didn't know at any good time, at any time, that Aden Duale will be back and Kindiki will be back in their position. I think for me that was a stab in the back. What do you think, Kimanzi?
I think the position of Ante Duale and Kithure Kindiki is the one that is going to raise a lot of eyebrows come Tuesday, because
Hmm.
the Gen Z are saying they went to protest so that Kindiki, who is leading the interior, and also Duale, who are the key people in these protests, who can make sure the Gen Z are safe, are the one they were protesting so that they can go home. But William Ruto decided to bring them back again. So I think William Ruto made a big mistake by reappointing Kidiki, Duale, Waome, and Soifan Tuya. So I think this is one of the big problems that the president is having. He's not taking the time. Why the hurry? I think we have most of reactions from different counties whereby people are rejecting the first bunch of the cabinet secretary. Again, the president did not consult the public when he was choosing. How can you just take Murkomen from transport roads and replace him with Davis Chirchir? What has Davis done that people can give him this transport? Yes, I think it's tough. I think it's tough for William Ruto to decide, because at the end of the day, he needs to give back to those who supported him. But maybe he can give them leading the county councils and also other duties like making sure the state house is clean. We need competent CAs.
And making sure that state house is clean. What do you mean? That is an insult to the cabinet secretaries. Wakuwe watu wa kufagia nyumba ya William Ruto kwa pale State House bwana
I think
eh?
they should do that. They should do that because if you give someone who doesn't understand what is happening in the Minister of Education, like Ezekiel Machog, the other one we have now, we need to be serious. I think we need to be serious. We are past that. Can you go back and pick Matiang? Where is Matiang? Give him that seat. Let Matiang deliver. That is the only
Uh,
CS who I saw performing. The others,
na Matiang'i amekwambia anataka kazi ama Matiang'i, I thought he got a job at the UN. Hmm?
Matiang is not nowhere to be seen. The social media is inactive. He has been inactive since Ruto took over the government. I don't know where Matiang is.
John Badi is coming without. Yeah, John Badi is really lobbying for positions in the cabinet. I think he's going to be one of the people recommended to join Ruto's government. But it's unfortunate. I will not be surprised if Babu Owino joins the cabinet. Unaonaje Babu akiingia kwa serikali, bwana Kimanzi?
Huyo hawezi ingia kwa serikali huyo.
Kwa nini?
Huyo
Kwa nini?
amekataa. He has already rejected the dialogue already. He has said he has been so loyal to Raila Amolo Odinga, but he will not agree with the kind of decision that he's taking to join Uda's government. Babu Owino has
Yeah, this,
already rejected that
yeah,
offer.
yeah. Babu, we saw that coming. I mean, Babu needed to make that political move and say and differ with the Azimio leaders so that he can get the clout and be seen as a strong leader. Hii mambo ya kusema baba akisema left ni left ni left ni right, leo mmekataa nyinyi watu wa baba mmekataa kuenda na yeye Mr. Kimanzi, I mean, you have been used to that kind of theatrics where Baba says left ni left. Today, mumekataa. So, what do you think? What will happen? What will happen in the coalition? Kalonzo has refused to board. Hmm? Kalonzo has
It is tough.
refused to. Hmm?
I think it's tough. We are rejecting everything that is concerning
Hmm?
the Uda government. How can we just join Uda government? What?
Hmm?
Why? When? When did this happen? This is a big betrayal, Bwana. You cannot join.
Boni says that they cannot join the UDA government, and it is a betrayal to the people who voted for Azimio that they were not prepared psychologically to join William Ruto. But the reason why Raila decided to join William Ruto, as explained by so many of his supporters, is that when Kibaki was in a crisis, Raila joined his government. When when Moi was in a crisis, Raila joined his government. And when Uhuru was in a crisis, he also joined his government. So what is so different with William's government? And now Kenya is not united, very much split into two. And remember, these two leaders, they were separated by only 200,000 votes. So Baba commands a huge base that if it is split again because of ideological differences, then whatever William Ruto was suggesting will not materialize. But where is Kalonzo in all this after kusalimiwa na men in black? Where is he in this mix up? Kimanzi, what is his game plan, and what does he really want to do after all this?
I think the base of the story is that Alonso is not willing to join Ruto. So Raila Johnny Ruto gives Kalonzo that time to just be strong and form the government. Be as the opposition leader with Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, and the likes of Sifuna. Because, you cannot just hate Baba. That is what is now making people to be complicated. You cannot just hate Baba. So you are wondering, what are you going to do? Are you going to raise issues in the social media to hate Baba? No way. So Kalonzo now can just form the government peacefully. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this comment. Raila is in the wrong profession. He should have been a peacemaker in the United Nations, like Kofi Annan and other things. I agree with you. Raila is such a peaceful, loving Kenyan who should be serving the world out there in the United Nations. Peace, peacekeeping mission. So that point is valid. That point is valid, Gypsy Corner. I totally agree with you 100%. But now the leaderless Gen Z, the leaderless Gen Z is being threatened. The issues of demonstrations has been banned in the CBD as usual by the new police chief. Uh, and what will that cause the movement? Will they like change their strategy? Because what I'm seeing is that we might see members of Azimio or the ODM group joining to counter the protest in the planned demonstrations next week. So Boni, kuna demonstrations zinakuja ama kuna demonstration? Mr. Boni, I think we lost Boniface. Why are your video
I
hanging all
think,
the
I
time?
think, I think, I am not lost. I think on Tuesday, people are going back to the streets. I've been hearing what they're saying. So they are going to reject first, reappointment of Kindiki Duale, Waome, and Soifan Tuya has generated a lot of concerns. So on Tuesday, that is what I've seen people saying. They are going back on the streets. The protests are going to continue until the government does what Kenyans want. Yeah. But I think William Ruto had the time. President has a lot of time. Why the hurry? He should have taken even 3 months or 6 months to reappoint another cabinet. We have a lot of qualified people in the country who can take over this cabinet and deliver to the Kenyans. Haraka haraka haina baraka. Yeah.
To abduct you. Make noise and resist. Good morning, patriots. Today I'm going to speak to you as the general of the National Revolutionary Movement and the general of all the revolutionary forces. And as a tactical and strategic master, listen carefully. William Ruto is cornered. His back is against the wall. So he's going to act desperately. He's going to act desperately because he wants to cling to power. Now, we have to come up with strategies to defeat William Ruto in the most efficient, effective, and shortest possible time. So what do we need to do? Number one, when attacked at home for no reason and attempts are made to abduct you, make noise and resist. Let members of the neighborhood come to your aid and repulse the goons. Abductions are illegal under the Constitution. Arrests, normal arrests in the regular manner, are legal, but only if they have a basis. You have a right to resist. You have a right to self-defense. So that's number one. Don't run away. Don't cower. Don't put your tail between your legs and simply go like a cow ready for slaughter. Number two, we need to spread William Ruto's goons thin throughout the country, which means that regardless of where you are, from north to south, east to west, you should rise up and protest everywhere, occupy everywhere. William Ruto has a maximum of 325,000 armed men and women. Not enough for 54 million Kenyans. Not enough to suppress a whole country. Spread them thin everywhere. Number two, we need to gather in huge numbers in major cities, starting with Nairobi. This gathering should be in one central place, like they did in Tahrir Square in Tunisia. And you need to make it one huge cavalcade with lots of people, 1 million plus. When you do that, and you do that consistently, and you do not disperse, and you stay there day after day, within 6 days, William Ruto will be no more. His forces will be gone. The international community will abandon him. The press that he is currently also brutalizing. For instance, I express my heartfelt condolences and also sympathies to those that William Ruto brutalized today and the journalists that he shot in Nakuru today. The media must rise up against William Ruto because he turned his guns against the media as much as he turned his guns against the civilians. The international community eventually, regardless of their location, will rise up against him because they don't want to be in the bad books of Kenyans. Number 5, I call upon the legal profession because I'm a lawyer, I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I practice law as a barrister and solicitor in Canada. The lawyers who are patriotic must rise up against William Ruto. Turn up in large numbers in your gowns and march, draped in Kenyan flags. Let the world see that William Ruto is going to treat the Kenyan flag as contraband, as a criminal garment. Let us expose William Ruto's autocratic, tyrannical DNA to the entire world. Let us expose William Ruto to the media, the international media, including the Githeri media in Kenya. Let us make sure that we expose William Ruto, we resist him, and we protest against him gallantly. Within 6 days of consistent daily protests, William Ruto will fall. The problem that I've seen with the current protests is that they're like flash floods. Then one day, and then we allow him time to go and recuperate and rearm and stock his ammunition and hire more goons. We should not give him respite. We should not give him a breathing space. William Ruto has crossed the Rubicon. He has crossed the red line. He's reached a point of no return. He must fall, and he must fall now. Let us forget about our sectarian and parochial differences. And William Ruto falls, we have nobody that if Ruto falls, that Gachagua is going to take power. William Ruto will fall with Gachagua, with Raila Odinga, and with all his collaborators. And when that happens, we will demand that the Chief Justice steps in and chairs the transitional council that will shepherd Kenya into a new republic, where we will have fresh elections, with a reconstituted IBC, and we will overhaul the entire system that was set up by the colonialists and revolutionize and transform our systems of government, our economic systems, our social systems, our cultural mores. Kenya is ripe for a rebirth, and we must do this for the country. Don't ask me where I am. Don't ask me where I'm speaking from. That's sectarian parochialism, because the only people asking that question are people who want to abduct me, people who want to come and torture me and kill me. I've gone through many of those, starting from Moi's time up to now. Let no old men and women lie to you and sell fear to you that William Ruto has reformed, that now is the time to give him time. We don't want reforms. This is a revolution. We want a total, complete overhaul of the rotten colonial structures so that we can build fresh, people-friendly, and empowering structures for national rejuvenation. Viva! Power to the people.
Viva Miguna. Miguna has got his signature clarion call of Viva to Miguna. Miguna's statement there is a bit worrying because one on the other end is saying that the Gen Zs should continue protesting and protesting until Ruto is out of power. I really don't think that that is very much necessary. If Ruto does the right thing to implement what the Gen Zs demanded, these protests, the way the Gen Zs are many, Mr. Kimanzi, and what Miguna is saying, do you think Gen Zs are capable of going all the way from you being in those particular platforms? Are they going to push Ruto out of government, or is it part of the agenda? I'm confused here. Is Gen Z's agenda to remove Ruto from power or to restructure government through the demands that they are asking for? What's your take on this?
I think from what the Gen Z are saying, they believed with what William Ruto said during the campaign. So at the end of the day, they voted for him. Now they were thinking everything will be good. The cost of living will be so low. Things will be so smooth in our country. But the term Asla was just there to convince you. Mama Boga was just there to just give you that idea that you will be in good condition when UDA government takes off. But what I can say, I will always tell you, it is so tough. The Gen Z are still pushing for William Ruto to move out. They are still pushing for the cabinet. They're still pushing for the cost of living, pushing for the finance bill. So things are so tough. I think, yeah. So they are pushing for Ruto to exit. That's why we have the hashtag Ruto must go. So I think they have their ideas, what they're saying. But when they give President time, President can still try to implement what they are saying. But the hurry in giving us the first bunch for the 11 cabinet, that was so quick for President William Ruto. I think things are not as well as he planned. Yeah,
All right. All
here
right.
we
Mhm.
complain. The advisors. Who are the advisors of the president? And what is the circle that encompasses the president? What is that circle? Who are the people around the president? Why are they not telling him the truth? Because at this time, it is where you need some people who are so sharp, some people who can tell you more about how you are going to run the government. You know, this country is so big. So when you have this protest, you have a lot of things taking place, and still you are a family man. So you cannot be just having stress of the country all the time. I think the advisors and also people who are around the president are the one who are messing with him. They are not telling him the truth. They are not helping him with the kind of work that they should. We start with the government spokesman. That is where he made a mistake.
Yes. If you yes. Guys, we're having a rerun on the other side. Black, I can see you are saying that we're having another rerun of a particular show. I think that show was back by public demand. It is the one that is going on now on the other side. But if you want to join the live conversation, we are here on the live conversation. Black, can you step up and join the panelists? There is a lot to discuss about our country, and this is the best place to be at this particular time. There is so much that is happening in Kenya that we cannot just afford to sit back and not voice our concerns. Kimanzi, the Gen Zs feel that they are disappointed with William Ruto. I think they need to they ought to have given William Ruto some time if they had indeed voted for William Ruto. William Ruto has only been there for 2 years and they've already started judging him. They have judged him very, very harshly, which is which is a good thing, putting the government on check. I feel that the Gen Zs have really achieved a lot. The young people of this country, mimi nawapigia makofi, kongole. Hakuna generation ingine kama yangu wale wamewahi fika mali Gen Z wamefikisha serikali ambayo imechaguliwa na wananchi, wameifikisha mahali mpaka Ruto akadissolve cabinet yake. That is something that has never happened, and especially the age of these young people. That's a congratulation. But is the president doing the right thing? That is the thing. Is he doing the right thing to sort out the mess, or is igniting the emotions? Bringing Duale and bringing Kindiki, to me, it feels like he wants to deal with the Gen Z's demonstrations squarely. He doesn't want to have any more negotiations with this group of people. Then the IG also says that there will be no demonstration in the CBD, especially if they don't have a leader. What is your take on that, Kim?
I will always say this: the Gen Z need to have a leader. The Gen Z need to understand that you are not just be leaderless. You need to have a leader so that you can know what is happening. You can just send that person because the president cannot lead the entire Gen Z in this country. You need to select some people who you trust, some people who you believe that they can lead, they can make a good decision when they meet with the top leaders. Because it will be so hard for president to meet them. But when you listen to the Gen Z speaking, it's like they don't want anyone who is being associated like a leader. They want to be leaderless. I think this is where they are going to lose this battle because without a leader, then you will be so useless. Without a leader, how are you going to meet those people? Because you cannot just be going all over and trying to say that we want to meet the deputy president. People over 1,000 numbers. So you can just say that, but at the end of the day, you need to have a leader, someone who can be represented, someone who can act as a leader. You know, they need to have a leader, but
Sasa
they are rejecting this kind.
Boni, without a leader, they have achieved so much. Without a leader, why do you want that leader?
You know,
Ndio
at the end of
nini?
the day,
Ndio nini ifanyike? Niambie tu kazi yake itakuwa ni nini?
so if they have a leader, they have leaders now, they can present those names to the president so that they can become cabinet secretary. But they have no one. So if the president asks them today to suggest some of the leaders that they want to be involved in the
No,
cabinet, who are they going to give?
was that part of what they wanted?
Of course, they want to be included in the government. The government is composed of what was it? Actually, they have been seeing that.
So part of their quest, in fact, part of their request now is that they want to be part of the cabinet.
Absolutely. They want to be involved in the cabinet. They want Gen Zs to be represented. Why is Ruto involving the old wazee?
Mm-hmm. Na na unaona ni kama William Ruto atakubali na hayo matakwa yao. Hmm?
No, but the president.
Mm-hmm.
You know the president is someone who can listen to what people are saying. So I think if they suggest someone, absolutely Ruto is going to make sure that he has given a chance. But I'm waiting. I'm really waiting to see who is going to be featured in the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Wildlife, and also in the Ministry of Agriculture. Those are the three areas that need a Gen Z. Ministry of Sports, we are really waiting because personally, as a sports journalist, I'm waiting to see who is going to be given that seat.
Asante sana, thank you very much. We ngojea hiyo kiti ya sports, huenda ukapata hiyo kiti eh, huenda ukapata hiyo kiti. I am joined here by Black. Karibu sana kwenye Afrique. Today we are having this wonderful discussion about our country, and as usual, you are a patriot and a committed member to this cause of having good governance and a UDS supporter. Please come and give us the insight and tell us what you feel with the recent developments. We are discussing, of course, the split in Azimio and the split further going to ODM. We have seen Babu Owino saying his own things. We have seen James Orengo, governor of Siaya, and that is Raila Odinga's advisors. Are they sending mixed signals? Karibu sana Black.
Asante,
Raila
sijui kama
Odinga.
mnanisikia
James
vizuri.
Orengo amepinga vikali.
Kidogo network yangu sio mzuri.
Yes, tunakusikia ndugu yangu.
But you can confirm if you can hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Nanipata?
Yeah.
Tunakupata.
Hello. Am I
Tunakupata
audible enough?
kaka. Yes, vizuri sana.
Okay. Well, first of all, hello to
Yes, Black. Are you low? Did we lose you again? Black. Huyu jamaa unajua ako zile sehemu za Baghdad, katika zile mashimo Osama bin Laden alikuwa anajificha kitambo, Naanda hakuna network huko kabisa. Kupata urudi tena ili tuweze kuzungumza nawe. Black, sasa hebu jaribu tena.
Hapo mnanipata vizuri hapo mkiwa mlipo?
Tunakupata kaka, tunakupata vizuri sana kwa njia mufti.
Safi sana, safi sana.
Nafurahi sana ukizungumza lugha yetu ya Kiswahili bana. Kiswahili kienzi.
Inanifurahisha sana. Inanifurahisha sana pia, nanipa fursa ya kuweza kusema kwa lugha ya kwetu nyumbani, kwa vile ni ngumu sana kupatana na watu wa kwetu huku, unajua it's very hard, so actually na feeling much more comfortable ikiwa kwenye hili jukwaa, ikiwa tunasema kwa lugha ya Kiswahili zaidi ya Kizungu ambao tumeshinda tukisema asubuhi mpaka usiku. So anyway, so kusonga mbele bila kupoteza muda ama wakati. Hamjambo nyinyi mlio kwenye studio, bwana Kimanzi, bwana Mzalendo mwenzangu na watazamaji pale mlipo. Ni mie wenu Black. Nawapenda sana kama kawaida. So kulingana na hali ya anga ya siasa zetu za Kenya, inahuzunisha sana kwamba mzee wetu tuliyemheshimu sana Raila Odinga, ambaye amekuwa akimuita rais wetu Zakayo kila muda, ametufanya mpaka imekuwa mara nyingi watu hawampendi ama amekuwa na hisia mbaya kwa rais. Alafu ghafla bin huu anatupatia hisia zingine tofauti za kighafla, zinatushangaza sana.
Haya.
So inatushangaza sana. Na tukiangalia pale mambo yalivyo hivi sasa, kuna rais wetu alikuwa ameamua kuchagua wa mawaziri wake, na katika baraza hili la waziri kuna watu kadhaa waliowarudisha ambao walikuwa wafuta kazi pale mbeleni. Maanake kwa kuondolewa kwenye uwaziri ni sawa na kufutwa kazi, na kulingana na sheria za nchi yetu na jinsi ya wanasheria wanavyosema pale nje, maanake mimi si mwanasheria, ila kulingana na vile wanavyosema pale nje, maoni yao, kama vile bwana Nelson Havi ambaye ni mwanasheria mkuu aliyekuwepo mbeleni wa mawaziri wa Kenya, mawakili wa Kenya, aliashiria kusema kwamba hiyo move ambao rais wetu aliofanya kwenda kuandika tena kazi wale mawaziri waliofuta kazi, kwanza ni kuvunja sheria. Unaona Sasa inanishangaza kwamba je, pale rais anapokwenda kufanya mambo kama yale, kuandika mtu kazi ama kufuta mtu kazi, huwa anapata mawaidha ya kisheria kutoka kwa mtu yoyote? Na iwapo kama anapata mawaidha kutoka kwa mtu yoyote ule anayeelewa mambo ya kisheria, je, alimueleza kuwa itakuwa ni makosa na kuvunja sheria kwa kuwaandika tena wale mawaziri waliokuwa wamewafuta kazi mbeleni? Au hana mtu anayempatia mawaidha ama maoni kuhusu masuala yote anayoyafanya kulingana na jinsi sheria inavyoenda? Haya ni masuala ambayo ni mazito sana ambayo tunastahili kujiuliza ama kumuuliza, kwa maana kama kweli atakuwa ana advisors alafu wawe wamekosa kumuonesha hili jambo kwamba kweli, unajua, ukimwandika kwa mfano bwana Kindiki, bwana Wahome, itakuwa umevunja sheria, na iwapo kama walimwambia na akakosa kufuata yale mawaidha ya wale advisors wake, je, does it mean kuwa kwamba yeye hazingatii masuala ya kisheria, yaani anavunja na kukiuka sheria? Ni mambo ambayo pia tunastahili tujiulize. Pili, tumeona kwamba hivi karibuni kuna makundi ya ODM ambayo hayajafurahishwa na mkuu wao, kinara wao Raila kwa kuamua kufanya kazi na serikali. Kama hivi karibuni pia I think kuna video ambayo pale iko nayo Uzalendo, pengine utatuchezea, ya Bwana Orengo, gavana wa Siaya, kusema kwamba hapana, pia hajafurahishwa na uamuzi wa Raila kusonga kwenda kufanya kazi na rais, wakati kipindi Wakenya wanalia na kuhuzunika kwa vifo vya vijana waliouawa kwenye mtutu wa risasi wa askari polisi. Na kwa wakati huu ambao watu bado wanaomboleza, ndipo wengine wanaendelea kutafuta vyeo serikalini. So inakuwa ni kama vile betray. Sijui kwa Kiswahili tutaita ni vipi ile kubetray, yani kukiuka. Unasemaje kubetray kwa Kiswahili vile? Kuwasaliti. Ni kama wanahisi wamesalitiwa na Raila Odinga. Sasa swala ambalo pia najiuliza hapa ni kwamba lile swali nililokuwa nimeuliza hapo mbeleni, ambao kabla rais aamue kuwarudisha wale kazini. Je, naye bwana Raila kabla afanye uamuzi ule, huenda ikawa alifuata maagizo ama mawaidha ya advisors wake wa ODM, ama aliweza kuketi chini na wafuasi wa ODM ama viongozi wa ODM, pengine ndio wakampatia ile go ahead kwamba it is okay kwenda kufanya kazi na rais, ama alichukua uamuzi huo kwa yeye mwenyewe, kulingana na yeye mwenyewe. Maanake ukiangalia pia kabla hapo ama baada ya hapo yeye kusema kuwa anafanya kazi na serikali, uliona kwamba kundi lile lake la wakuu ama vinara wa Azimio kama Eugene, Kalonzo na Karua na Kioni walikataa na kupinga ule uamuzi wake kufanya na serikali. Ndiyo maana nabaki nauliza swali hili hili. Je, alipofanya uamuzi ule wa kwenda kufanya kazi na serikali, alifanya vile na uamuzi ule baada ya kupewa idhini na wenzake kwenda kufanya kazi na serikali, ama ulikuwa uamuzi wake? So swali lile lile nilouliza kuhusu rais wetu kabla ya kuamua kuwarudisha wale mawaziri, ndio swali hilo hilo pia najiuliza kuhusu Raila. Na iwapo kama walikiuka mawaidha ya jinsi walipokuwa wamepewa na wandani wao, then ina maana huwa hawafuati maelezo ya viongozi wenzao chamani ama uongozini. Then are those the kind of people that we want to lead? So those are the fundamental questions ambao ningependelea sana tujiulize kwa siku ya leo. Na iwapo kuna njia gani ambayo tunaweza kufanya kuweza kuwaweka kwenye mstari, manake mwisho wa siku sote tunataka Kenya iliyo nzuri. Sote tunataka Kenya iliyo na amani. Hamna mtu anayetaka kuona Kenya yenye vurugu wote ile aina yoyote ile. Hamna. So if there is any way, legal way, if I may put it that way, if there is any legal way that can be addressed or followed to ensure that the rule of law is followed, justice is assured for the people that lost their lives, and that the leaders, whenever they're making their decisions and actions, they are in line with the law and the constitution of the land. Which legal means can we do or follow as Kenyans? So I'll leave it as that. Thank you.
Thank you, Black. I think at this point, let me play for you that video that you had requested of James Orengo. Then we can have a discussion around that.
serikali ya muungano kati ya Rais William Ruto na kinara wa upinzani Raila Odinga, akisema kuwa haitatimiza matakwa ya Wakenya. Orengo aliyezungumza katika mazishi ya Kevin Onyango aliyouawa kwenye maandamano ya Gen Z alisema lazima haki itendeke kabla ya mazungumzo na Rais William Ruto. Mwanahabari wetu wa masuala ya siasa Apollo Kamau anauketwa taarifa hii.
Joto la kisiasa katika chama cha ODM linaendelea kupanda baada ya migawanyiko kuibuka kuhusu iwapo kiongozi wa chama Raila Odinga anapaswa kuwa kiongozi wa upinzani. Mshirika wa Odinga na gavana wa Siaya James Orengo akienda kinyume na Odinga kuhusu serikali ya muungano ambayo imegawanya muungano wa Azimio. Viongozi wanaosukuma chama cha ODM kujiunga na serikali kando na Odinga ni mbunge wa Suna Mashariki Junet Mohamed na aliyekuwa gavana wa Mombasa Ali Hassan Joho. Orengo akisisitiza kuwa lazima haki ya waliouawa kwenye maandamano itendeke kwanza.
We cannot kill our people, and the time when we are mourning them, we are looking for officers. That cannot happen. We must first deal with injustice before we can deal with questions that arise out of that injustice.
Na huku kiongozi wa chama cha DAP Kenya Eugene Wamalwa akikataa wadhifa aliyopewa uwaziri, mbunge wa Mumias Mashariki Peter Salasia vilevile amepinga wito wa serikali ya muungano.
Hii mambo ya madialogues zote ni useless. Ndio tunataka, wananchi wanasema wanataka action, na ile ambayo wanataka kama rais asipofanya hivyo abebe virako aende nyumbani. Hakuna mambo ya kupembeleza wanasema punda kwa mteremko.
Vyama vya Wiper na Jubilee vilevile vimekataa nyadhifa zilizotolewa kwao na kupinga serikali ya muungano.
You say that you need to consort. Let him consort the angels and the devils you want to consort. Or for us, we are not body.
Haya yanajiri huku habari zikijitokeza na kudokeza kuwa Rais William Ruto alichelewesha kutaja baraza zima la mawaziri kutokana na misukosuko katika muungano wa Azimio. Apollo Kamau, TV47.
Well, that was TV47. Thank you for that was the news courtesy of TV47. We don't have the rights to play, but thank you, Black, for that information on James Orengo. Now, my take on this particular subject is one. I feel Black, that one James Orengo will come around. Whatever he's saying right now is for the gallery. I have played that video and seen James Orengo saying that he doesn't agree with Raila Odinga. I don't. That's a populist statement, depending on where he was at that particular time. He was attending a funeral of one of the victims, one of the Gen Z victims in his county. So a lot of these voices being raised, let us be very, very careful. They could be sending mixed signals. Some are just populist statements. Remember, ODM had a meeting. I had a meeting of its top organs, and Orengo is one of them. And they agreed to join William Ruto's government. So for James Orengo, who is very, very close to Raila Odinga and an advisor to Raila Odinga, to say that he doesn't agree with him joining government, I think he's speaking with the two sides of his mouth. Tomorrow you'll see him saying something different. Let me welcome Themba to the studio. Themba, welcome to Afrique once again. We value your participation today, having taken some time off to just come and share your thought on this. Today we are discussing about the impact of Gen Z's demonstration plus the split in Azimio group and what is next. What is the next stop for this protest? And now that we have Raila Odinga in government and the other group of Azimio are saying no. Karibu sana, Mr. Temple.
Thank you, Zalendo,
Mm.
Black, and the other gentleman. I can't see the name.
Yeah, it's
Nice,
Kimanzi.
Kimanzi, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to see all of you in this discourse. Indeed, I'm honored to be hosted here. Always, as I do, to share my considered view in certain aspects. So, thank you so much, Zalendo, for this opportunity.
Karibu sana Temba. Black, earlier on we played your video on Orengo. For you, you think that there is a disagreement uh, between Orengo and what Raila is doing. I totally don't agree with that kind of position. Are you there, Black, or bado uko kwa banka?
I'm here.
Yes, yes.
Uh, why would you disagree with that? I mean,
You know why I would disagree with that, because one, Orengo was attending a funeral for one of the victims of the protests, and is a Gen Z. So the people who are attending that funeral are definitely Gen Zs. So whatever is saying there at that particular time is a populist statement. That's my take. That's my opinion. Just tell me if I'm wrong, but that's how I see these politicians behaving. I never knew that Raila would join William Ruto. Neither did you know that, until it happens. Yeah.
I think Mzalendo,
Mm,
as yes, he may have been in a funeral of one of the victims
mm,
of police brutality. He would have stayed away from Raila's sentiments. He would have stuck from the justice to be given to all the victims that may have fallen to the bullets of the police in the demonstrations, and would have just stuck to that, and maybe stuck to how uh, inhuman the police have been. But invoking Raila's name, especially in that yard of in that yard, that's a Raila's stronghold, isn't it? He would never have done that if at all he wasn't genuine about his sentiments, right? And I believe it's not the first time that he said that. He was against that just 2 days ago, right? The funeral was today. So I totally disagree with your view. I think, yes, he is sincere in his statements that it would be wrong for Raila dragging ODM into Ruto's government, especially at this time when Kenyans are still mourning the young departed souls um, who lost their lives in the demos. So I think on that one, Zalendo, I want to disagree with.
Well, yeah, maybe you're right, maybe not. That was everybody has got a right of an opinion. That's how you feel. I've seen, to some extent, I might agree with you, but regarding the place where he said that statement, I'm yet to see him make a similar statement in front of Baba in a presser and say, I don't agree with all of you because
But
of
they
it.
did.
Hmm?
There was
When?
an event, I think last week. I can't recall where that was. I
No,
can't recall that
that
was.
was before.
Do you remember that event?
Yeah, they were anticipating that there could be something like that.
Before cabinet was mentioned, was
Yeah,
named.
before. But
But
you
already
read.
Raila had already said that he's going to work with the government. He also repeated the same sentiment that
No,
Raila
no,
should not
black.
work with the government, isn't it?
This black. Let me tell you, James Orengo is one governor that has already benefited from Ruto's government directly, even before the handshake. That before even when we were suspecting that there was an handshake between Raila and William Ruto. Remember William Ruto visiting Siaya and William Ruto confessing that James Sorengo was his personal lawyer during many of those struggles. He was given I don't know how many tractors in by the government. So and that time there was a lot of heat that no governor should work with William Ruto, but Orengo was out there working with the president. So yeah, that is what I feel. Let me bring in member
I
at
don't know
this.
if you can.
Yeah.
I can be allowed to just say just one word before.
Yes.
Um, there's a difference between the time when we did not have this chaos, and as a president, he had to, or he delivered those tracks to Orengo. By Orengo does not mean to Orengo to use them in his own personal farm. It was for the county, you know. It was for the county. So national government itself usually has an extent of responsibilities in county, right? So it was just as from a capacity of a president extending some part of their obligations towards the county when they offered the tracks. And that's it.
Today
So it
we.
does not mean that when you do something wrong, because you once by obligation provided those tracks, that it automatically covers all the wrongs that you've done. No. Now that he's done these wrongs, Orengo is just standing up for that and saying no, 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 no. Zile tracks hazikupewa Orengo enda alime kwa shambani. Ile ilikuwa ni rais amepeana itumike kwa county. Full stop. We can't attach those two things.
So black. Let me respect your opinion, but remember, we were having demonstrations, Azimio demonstrations every other day when they were demanding that Sava ifunguliwe. So that was part of After that is when the president started making those moves. Themba, karibu sana Afrika. Say a word or two.
Thank you, Mzalendo. um, in my view, right now, whatever Orengo says, whether they agree with Baba or not, in my view, would be more of like they say, you miss the antelope while you are chasing the squirrel. We are being treated to suckers because the things we are supposed to be talking about right now, in my view, is the inability to govern with the current regime. The current regime that we have is Kenya Kwanza regime, and this Kenya Kwanza regime, the inability to govern has led us to where we are right now. We can be chasing a lot of herrings when we start discussing divisions in Azimio or divisions in ODM, whether they agree or not. in my view, that is a diversion. What we need to be interrogating is the performance or lack of it of the current regime and what is happening right now in view of what has gone on. For some reason right now, we are being diverted to discuss whether Azimio will hold together or not. that for me, I feel is not important right now. Kalonzo is treating us to media coverage every day, trying to fight for his political future. Is that what we read right now? No. Ruto, in my view, needs to do what he needs to do, govern. They need to give direction to the country. They need to tell us what is going on instead of us engaging a lot of diversions, like if Baba is joining Ruto or not. Right now, we have a government. That government is the Kenya Kwanza government administration. The people have come up and raised their issue. They have said that they do not agree with the way they are being governed by the current administration. The constitution gives us this particular government 5 years. The mandate in which within intervening period, we can demand for them to give us the services. After the 5 years, when it's over, we give them a scorecard. We don't like what they have done, we push them off. But currently, we are being treated into other political aspects of it, like for example, coalition building or building a coalition that is going to deliver to Kenyans. Under which manifesto? Are they going to use the Kenya Kwanza manifesto? Are they going to use the Azimio manifesto? And come 2027, who will be accounting to Kenyans? Is it Kenya Kwanza? Is it Azimio? Is it this broad-based? I had Kalonzo and his team saying they want to create, after the convention, a transitional government. What transition? What are we transitioning from and to where? I mean, the deal is simple. We have a government in place. President Ruto, as at now, whether we agree with it or not, he's the president. His government, Kenya Kwanza, is not lost of talent. You don't have to bring people from Azimio or people from ODM to come and join in to make it broad-based. You can still have a broad-based government with the people who support Kenya Kwanza and still have people that are from the... You want to tell me Kenya Kwanza is only supported by Kalenjins and Kikuyus? There are Luos in Kenya Kwanza. There are Maasais. There are Coastarians, who still supports Kenya Kwanza. They do not have to be the same people that are being brought back. So, in my view, it's good to... I mean, it is within the political right of everyone to discuss what is going on, but in my view, it is a diversion. Now, listen, we have lost, I think, a month, trying to tell Ruto that the things that are going on are not right. Instead of sitting down with his cabinet, reshuffling his cabinet, getting the right people to help him deliver on the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, what is happening? They are going back to tell us we're going to have a broad-based government. Broad-based does not necessarily mean having to bring people from outside. I do not agree with that idea of even coming to bring broad-based, because the thing it's going to create is confusion, and the buck stops with the president. So whether you bring who or who, if the manifesto is still Kenya Kwanza manifesto, the president is still William Samoei Ruto, whoever comes to that cabinet will have to toe the line. They do not, just because you have broad, let's say, for example, you bring Joe, you say we have a broad-based government. Is he going to implement ODM or Azimio manifesto when he comes and joins the president is William Samoei Ruto, is he gonna be saying, okay, I gave you your 11 ministry, so you guys do whatever you want with the 11 ministry, implement Azimio or ODM manifesto within the next 3 years? I don't think that is what is going to happen. That's a confusion. We have the Kenya Kwanza administration that came with their manifesto. You should consider exploring talent within Kenya Kwanza, so that come 2027, we'll be giving a scorecard to Kenya Kwanza, and we are telling them that you guys have been non-performing. Can we have you guys out so that we have another administration? But if you create the so-called, I don't know, broad-based government, which manifesto will we be giving a scorecard to come 2027? And whom will we be questioning? Will we be questioning Ruto, or will we be questioning the other party leaders who will have been brought in case of a failure? And these cabinet ministers that are coming from probably other parties, whom will they be answerable to? Will they be answerable to Raila or Azimio, or will they be, assuming even they go with what Kalonzo is telling us, or transitional? So will they be answerable to Akina Kalonzo? I mean, it's a confusion. But I understand what is going on right now. Raila is at a point where, in my view, is more interested with the AU position. And he needs to, if he's able to create a sense, to appear to have been involved in the peaceful coexistence in Kenya, then it's likely to bolster his CV at the AU. So his interest might not be so much about 2027. But the people whose interest is 2027 is Kalonzo. But they are not giving any indication that they are ready to hit the ground and campaign for the next 2 years. Instead, they are holding presses everywhere, trying to disagree with whatever Baba does, as if their political future hangs on decisions that Baba makes. This is the time that they should have left. Come together. Those people are interested in running for 2027. Go out there, take advantage of what is going on, start meeting people, start campaigning. They've already been given an impetus. Mzalendo, I was surprised. Kalonzo comes and talks as if whatever Gen Z are saying are things that have fallen from Mars. Every other day we have known that we have governance issues. People have been killed. We remember here Mzalendo talking about Baby Pendo being killed out of political reasons. We remember many people dying in Nyalenda out of political reasons. So what is it that is so different that these Gen Zs have brought, that now Kalonzo all of a sudden has reached a Damascus moment? But all Gen Zs have made, he was the same person who are being tear gassed and bludgeoned when they were going around here with Azimio because of governance issues. So right now coming to start saying, oh, Gen Zs have made it so clear, it means that he has even forgotten what he's been fighting for the last 2-3 years. So he needs to wake up, smell the coffee, know that Baba is not gonna be running on top of Baba's head every time. He needs to be his own man. Press us every time condemning Baba, saying that, oh, Baba, whatever decision you make, will not help. Him, Martha Karua, and the other guys around them should get out there. And if they are going to come up with another coalition, let them come up with it. Let them also be approached if they are going to be approached to talk. But if they go the way they are going, by the time Baba goes to AU, Gen Zs will have already, so-called Gen Zs and millennials will have already figured out who is going to be their candidate come 2027, and Kalonzo might not be part of them. So I want to finish by saying, Zalendo, maybe for now, I don't think whatever Baba does and his decision, whether to join Ruto or not, should be what is actually guiding us. Should be part of what you talk about is Ruto governing well or not? We want, after come 2027, we are able to hold a particular government, Ruto's government, and we are able to come out clear and say they did not perform, we take them out. The pressure that is on should continuously come to Ruto's government. Now, when you have a, broad-based government, whom are you going to hold? In check. Whom are you going to hold accountable for things that are not being delivered? The next part of quarrel will be your side is delivering or my side is not delivering. So Mzalendo, I find it diversionary to discuss whether Raila is agreeing with Orengo or not. Those are, they are politicians. Politicians will always give you something to talk about. They'll talk today like this, tomorrow the other thing. But we should not, as a people, be digressed from addressing the things that are actually bedeviling Kenya right now. Bad governance with a government that is in place, and that is Kenya Kwanza government. Whether we talk today, we talk tomorrow, the Kenya Kwanza government is a government in place. It should be held accountable today, tomorrow. Come election time, we either vote them back in or we vote them out. We don't want to be confused here, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Themba. You know, you always bring some very interesting perspectives that nobody else sees. Until now, I just realized that, uh, this grand coalition government, if you are getting people from Azimio, who will they be answerable to? Yeah, who will be and who is choosing them? It is one Raila Odinga who is choosing them. Then you also brought a point where Raila is looking at his exit plan, and maybe just to add on that is that I feel that Raila is handing over his people to William Ruto indirectly. Is handing over his base to William Ruto as their next potential leader in Azimio. Hey, Boniface Kimanzi, you've been quiet for some time. Can you say something on this?
I can see it is the end time of the position of this country. If Kalonzo, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa are not going to be keen and step over, start something fresh. They have been relying on Raila Amolo Odinga for a long time. So they should just step and be strong, lead this country when it comes to the opposition. Because 2027 is near, but still we are not firm when it comes to the opposition. Does it mean if we don't have Baba, we cannot have the opposition? We cannot lead the country? These are the kind of things that they should ask themselves. Why are they not being strong and standing on their own to be the leader of this country when it comes to the opposition? So they should just be like them. Yeah, I think they should just keep up this mentality of following Baba all the time. Whenever Baba is there, they are following Baba. They should just be on them. Baba is now focusing with the AU. He's not focusing with the local politics. So I think it is high time now Kalonzo knows that he is alone now. He needs to make a team that will help him win the election 2027. Yeah.
Thank you, Kimanzi.
Mzalendo.
Kalonzo, yes, I'm giving you a chance. I just wanted to introduce one called Mise, and before Mise comes in, Black, can you say something?
Asante, mine will be just brief. Hi, Mise. Welcome. Temba, I would like to disagree with you when you say uh, Baba's move is inconsequential. Just summing up what you say, not getting into Kalonzo's part, because now you see, Baba leads 67 members of parliament. We all know the issues we have and the role that opposition does in parliament, right? You can imagine Baba having made that move. Now, what do you think will happen to issues to do with accountability, questioning accountability in parliament among the ODM members who are the majority when it comes to the opposition? They'll all sway towards the government, right? So then a lot of wrongs and social ills, especially when it comes to embezzlement of funds, corruption, other issues, would go scot-free. So Baba's move to work with the government is detrimental to the quest that the Generation Z are advocating for. So it's a wrong move, really, which I'm also against, because it will be almost the end of um, leaders being held accountable when it comes to the parliament, in my view.
Black, I agree with you. I mean, my point was, and I want to emphasize again, all these things are political interest. So they say in politics, interest is permanent. Friendship is not permanent. Interest is permanent. And indeed, everyone is going to make a decision that is going to fit their personal interest. And the complication you are bringing together, I just highlighted that the complication that is coming on is, including what you've said, there's also the idea of assuming that he brings on some of the cabinet secretary from ODM. Whom are they going to be accountable to? Are they going to be responding to the manifesto that was created by Azimio, or manifesto that was crafted by Kenya Kwanza? So by joining the government, are they therefore choosing to abide by the manifesto that is the Kenya Kwanza manifesto? You see, those are the questions that as Kenyans probably we need to interrogate. It's not just about, yes, there's a peace that is going to be coming, I mean, along the line. That is if Kenyans choose that route. But I want to say this also. The Gen Zs probably would have thought about the political side of their demonstration, because probably they have, yes, they have the what, but the why, the how, some of those things have, are disappearing. So I would probably urge them to continue with their pressure. Probably that would change the scenario as the political terrain moving forward. Probably it will give us the end of, the influence of political parties, which is deeply ingrained in the Kenyan psyche. But for now, the political interest of the political party leaders might be ahead based on the, the financial and the mobilization capability that they will be having. So I agree with you. It will affect the effective delivery if indeed the checks and balances of the different parliament and executive is to remain as traditionally they were. But again, my point is Raila will always make decisions that also respond to his political interests, not just what every politics, like I said, is so much about interest of the individual politicians. We may castigate them, we may say this, but everybody standing up there, even Kalonzo, coming out there, their interest is not necessarily that Baba is going to betray Gen Zs and Kenyans. Their interest is this: if Baba happens to join Ruto, their future political journey is complicated, because neither Kalonzo nor Martha Karua nor the people standing with them have the mobilization skill and the support that Baba enjoys. So their idea of complicating Baba joining Ruto is so much more of a selfish agenda. It's not so much of Kenyan or Gen Zs. Because if Baba stays with them, then they are sure that by the time they get to 2027, they'll be having a head start by having Baba people supporting them, you see? But as soon as Baba joins Ruto, that means what? It means that the support base that Baba enjoys is likely to go towards whatever side Ruto will be going come 2027. And they will miss out on whatever support base they were enjoying out of that. So it is not that they are so interested in Kenyans or they are so interested in what Gen Zs are saying. They are more interested in their selfish political agenda. They do not have a future without Baba being on their side. That is what they are not telling Kenyans. They're not telling Kenyans that Baba, please don't go. If you go, we are done. There's no way we are going to we'll go nowhere. So they want to try as much as possible to use what they think is publicly acceptable. That you see Baba is betraying the Gen Z agenda, the Kenyan, the legacy he has left. What problem will they have if Baba is betraying that? They should go ahead and fill into that slot, but they don't want that because they know what it means. So they are more interested in their political future. Those who are disagreeing, Baba is right now the most valued, is like the most valued player. Whichever side he goes, those people are going to gain. If he goes to Ruto, Ruto is going to gain a little bit of stability based on his association with Raila. Kalonzo and Martha are going to gain with the association of Raila. They're going to remain with the traditional support base. So it is a selfish agenda. That's why if I were Baba, I would still make a selfish decision that, hey, wait, this is what is going to work for me. I want to go to AU. The people that are going to support me to go to AU is the president of Kenya. The president of Kenya is William Samoei Ruto. My future in politics will depend on me going to AU. So if he's going to support me, let me support him. And by the way, if there's peace, people will see, even other countries will see that I'm able to support the side that brings peace. So whichever way it goes, he'll get that support. Come 2027, Kalonzo will not say that, okay, Baba, we prevented you from going to AU, now you can run again. They will not accept. So it is a selfish interest, Mr. Black, and I agree with you. Yes, there'll be those political complications, but here it is. Politics is a selfish thing. Interests are permanent, but friendship is not permanent. You don't get into friends with a politician forever. As soon as you don't meet their interest, they dump you, they move on.
Oh, thank you so much. Mise, you can tell us more about what you can say about this division of the ODM, and also tell us where you're following this conversation from, and what is your take about Raila joining the Huda government?
Thank you very much. I think my opinion on this is that first of all, I usually I used to what I'm seeing is very interesting, and this is something that we've been discussing and talking about what is happening and the interest of people who are key in Kenya. Themba, I cannot agree more of the things that you have said that are actually factual. I usually don't like you, by the way, but today you have ignited the political feelings in me and reality that this is politics of convenience. That people who have seen that they have an interest, they are converging together, not because of the interest of the people of the Republic of Kenya, but because of self-interest and because of convenience of the influence that each of the key principles have. One thing I just wanted to emphasize, and maybe have a different opinion from what you said, is that Baba's been in the government indirectly. I would rather say that it is now that they're telling us it's broad-based government. I would think it was before it was narrow-based government. Now they're making it broad-based government because if you remember in the past, we have seen Moses Kajwang, Gladys Wanga, James Orengo, who are very, the people of Baba, working with William Ruto and praising him, even when we know that there's a sharp political differences, and their praises have yielded fruits. So therefore, which means that indirectly, William Ruto has been working with Baba, and Baba did not have a problem. That is why he did not oppose the relationship, the symbiotic relationship between the governor and a few other key ODM members working with William Samoei Ruto. Now, the interest, Baba has interest. And I agree with what you have said, that that interest also says a lot. And I agree with what, Themba, you said, that this is not about
the leaders, or this is not about Baba, this is not about William Ruto, this is about us, the people, being in a position to hold leaders accountable in the absence of the in the presence of Baba or William Ruto. We, the people, must have the ability to be able to push the agenda, utilize Article 1 of the Constitution, that we have the power to hold our leaders accountable without necessarily being manipulated by the leaders who actually rally us. When they are threatened, they rally us to support their selfish agendas in the name of fanatical followings. So I admire the way you articulated issues. This is a time when we should rally together. Now, this is as the people. This is not the sentiments that we are hearing from Kalonzo Musyoka, and the other leaders, that our country is at a crossroad. We should, as the people, we should come together and say that our country since inception has been at the crossroad, and it's at the peak, and our actions are needed more than ever to come together, push the leaders, remind them they are civil servants. They are supposed to serve us and not us serving their selfish interests. I think that's what I can add in this conversation. And I appreciate the fact that this conversation has always accommodated divergent opinions, regardless of who we lean to when it comes to the so-called core principles, or the people that are at the top of the leadership. But the question, Themba, you asked, that we need to start asking ourselves, yes, we are having a broad-based government. The ideologies of ODM versus the ideologies of Kenya Kwanza. Who is going to fold their ideologies to join the other person? Who is going to compromise in order to have a government of unity that will forge for the economical prosperity instead of individual economical prosperity? Thank you.
Maybe I can add something before Themba comes in. I mean, this is. I mean, in the world, I think Kenya is the only one having this kind of arrangement. And if at all there should have been a grand coalition government, then it should have involved Gen Z, just like when Raila Odinga had the grand coalition with Mwai Kibaki. The factor here is Gen Z, and they are nowhere. So the political class forms a group and says, we must form this grand coalition government so that to keep these kids at bay. And that is exactly what they are doing right now. But I'm glad that we are stepping up. We are having the right conversation. It doesn't matter who you support. It is our country that comes first before these individuals. Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, and Uhuru Kenyatta. Let us look at these things objectively. We have done mistakes before as a generation, gone to our tribal cocoons and supported the people that we want. Now it is time to amend the messes that we have been doing, and Gen Zs have taken the front lead. Let us not forget that they started this conversation. We have been talking about it, but they have pushed the government this far. Yeah, so for accountability and everything that the Gen Zs want, the grand cabinet for William Ruto should have had an outlook, a majority, or even half quarterway should be members of the Gen Z's community, and that is my take on this particular issue. Themba.
Thank you. Two things I want to highlight. One is just hold on. Two things I want to highlight. First is to correct Mise. Mise, the Constitution envisages that there'll be checks and balances between governments. The fact that Ruto is the president of Kenya and is in Kenya Kwanza, it doesn't mean that on issues that are friendly to the people. You see, whether you are a governor in Homa Bay or wherever you are, you pay taxes to the Kenya government. And therefore, in matters of policy that are friendly to your person, I come from the school of thought that there's nothing wrong with the president once he has assumed office to work with any governor or any person, because he's supposed to solve the problem of the people of Kenya, not only people from one particular party. So I don't find it, I mean, our problem with our mentality is we are fixated with our political parties to the extent that if, the constitution as it is, once you have been elected as a president, there's a point in which now your political party ceases to exist at that point. That's the party and the state is different. You are a yes from Kenya Kwanza, there's a Kenya Kwanza administration, but the president is the president of Kenya. The administration is the Kenya Kwanza administration, but you are the president of Kenya. So that therefore means what? If there's any developmental policy that is friendly to people of Siaya, it doesn't mean that I can't work with the governor from there. The constitution envisages a situation where they work together seamlessly. So I don't think, yes, political, you can say, when you look at optics and say that if Orengo is seen to probably taking a picture with Ruto in a development project that is being implemented in Siaya, then they are working together. So that means we still have a lot of hang-ups in ourselves. I don't think there's anything wrong. In the intervening period between an end of an election to the next election, what happens in between is the provision of services deliverable to the people of Kenya, not to Kenya Kwanza, not to ODM. So I don't think you need to still remain that we have ODM counties or Kenya Kwanza counties. The state is the state of Kenya, and the president is the head of state. That means he's the head of all the 47 counties. He therefore needs to respond to all the needs of the 47 counties. So we should not imagine that the president is a president, but he should not be seen to even have development projects in Siaya County or in Homa Bay County or in whichever county. I think that is backward thinking, and is something that probably we need to move away from. That is my my considered view. Number two, Mzalendo. I don't think every time there's an upheaval, people should join the government. That because you have asked something, people should join because the Gen Zs have fought for something, they should be put in government. No, we should act like other developed democracies. Like UK the other day, the party that won majority was a different one. The prime minister had to step down. A different coalition took over power. In the US, when one particular party, Republicans, don't perform, they are voted out. Another party comes in. But you keep raising issues. So I don't think just because you have raised issues of governance about a particular party, then you should be included in that government. That is not the way things should be running. We should have a situation where let's have the government of the day perform. Let the pressure be put on that government to perform. Let me give you an instance. Do you think by Gen Zs joining the Ruto administration, anything is going to change? The constitution envisages that the person that the buck stops with is the President William Ruto. So you can't go in there because you are Gen Zs and you are told, okay, do this, then you do something opposite because you want to see something different. I mean, that is not going to happen. In fact, by joining that government, you are being incorporated into the incompetencies of the same government. And remember, the administration of William Samoei Ruto is not just cabinet secretaries. It's PSS, is the psyche of it. So if you are going to say, okay, fine, let's change, then you have to change everywhere. You have to change even the ambassadors. I mean, let's face it. We need to move away from the idea that just because we are not satisfied with the government, then the next thing and the best way to solve it is to bring everybody into the government. The government should be held accountable. It should be asked questions. But if they do not perform, then the next thing that we ought to do is vote them out. not join them. They should step aside, allow another administration. And the constitution as it is after 5 years where we can be able to vote. But for now, they should be having their own reorganization inside, which I think is, in my view, some people would say that, okay, fine, they should have brought many Gen Zs to the cabinet. They should have brought, I don't think, in my view, that is appropriate and ideal. We should be like other developed democracies where if a particular coalition cannot deliver, then it should be voted out. In my view, we should be having maybe midterms so that we have MPs probably serving every 2 years. And then maybe so that every 2 years you have, we separate the elections for the presidency and the governors and the MPs so that some people can be brought home early while others are still continuing, like it happens in the US. You have that scorecard coming every time. One time you'll have a majority. If the next 2 years you haven't performed, another party has majority. They are the ones who are running the government. That way it's going to help us, as opposed to this one where every time we have a happy voice, we are saying, let's join the government. Thank you, Mr. Len.
Of the Republic of Kenya.
Asante, tafadhali tuketi. Presiding Bishop wetu wa PEFA Dr. John Okida, Bishop wetu mpya Bishop Samuel Karemi na mke wako, our newly ordained ministers of PEFA, viongozi wetu wakiongozwa na Gacheri na wale wajumbe wamefika na MCAs, Wakristo, wakaaji wa Mwea, Ngai ni mwega na hindi ciothe. Ngai ya iciarere mwathani agocwo. Mwathani agocwo ringi. Bishop wetu Samuel Karemi, nimefika hapa kusema pongezi. Congratulations. Nataka kusema pongezi for your installation and consecration as the regional bishop for Kirinyaga, na tumekuja kuwa washuhuda na Wakristo wengine. Na mimi kasema lazima nifike kwa sababu one, kanisa la Pema ni marafiki zetu. Ya pili, watu ya Kirinyaga ni marafiki zangu. I spent my earlier life hapa Kirinyaga. Nilisoma hapa Kirinyaga High School kutoka form 1 mpaka form 6. Alafu nikakuwa DO wa Gichogo hapo mwaka 3. Ukijumuisha nimekaa hapa mwaka 9 katika Kirinyaga. Kwa hiyo ndaigwa kwino ndo Kirinyaga Julai ya kulekia joke. Na watu ya Kirinyaga, mimi nataka kutoa shukrani sana vile mlituchagua mkatupatia nafasi ya uongozi. Na ugane thank you. Amukira igatho ciako. Kwa hivyo bishop wetu, I have seen umepewa interim certificate ya mwaka moja ujenge cathedral. Ithidi akiona. Ithidi akigua. Wa maithoti wake. Na mundu mugidari mihere yake. Mwikuo ka mutire kuo. No muraka menyola guikarita ka mutikiwe. No ngumenya ne ati akati guo. No ngumenya tondu abari ndithia gwo no mundu ki. Ningi muri andu aitu na kanithone witu. Uguo we bishop rukamake. Tugucarania twarie. Tukiwa hapa Kirinyaga niseme mambo ya Mwea tunajua zile shida ziko. Mambo ya snails na panya imesumbua kulima sana. Sana. Na tunaona haya sana. Na PS wetu wa agriculture alikuwa hapa Engineer Rono, na nitaenda kumwambia warudi tena na timu yake ya wataalamu. Lazima tutafute suluhisho ya hizi snails and the rats ambaye inasumbua wakulima wa Mwea wa mchele. Number 2, tulilete bolea. Serikali yetu ilipunguza bolea kutoka 7,500 mpaka 2500. Tunasaidia wakulima wa majani chai, wa kahawa, wa mahindi, wa kila kitu, lakini wakulima wa mchele hawajasaidika vile inatakikana. Kwa hivyo hiyo, nikirudi Nairobi siku ya Jumatatu nitafanya mpango ndio pia nyinyi muweze kupata ile bolea ya 2500 uweze kusaidia wakulima hapa Mwea. Again, mumesema mambo ya barabara hapa ndani kwa mchele, kwa hii scheme ya Mwea irrigation scheme. Ni kweli iko matatizo, sio hapa Dhiva peke yake, katika the whole scheme. Na jana nimeongea na Engineer Mwasia ambaye ndio CEO wa Irrigation Authority.
Gachagua is interfering with our conversation. I thought that he was going to say something very important. There, he's always talking about his community, the Kikuyu community, ile kitu atawaletea na nini. But he looks like a very happy man. He's no longer the same Gachagua that we saw a few months ago. Mambo vitu vya changeanga. Things have changed so fast. But anyway, the conversation is, why do we, anytime we have a problem, and Themba, we brought a very important discussion here that we need to dig into and have a solution, and not just jump into governments when they're having a problems, because you will be lumps, you will be put in that problem, and you will be part of it at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's why I was saying that. Raila Odinga is simply handing over his team to William Ruto for 2027. I've seen that conversation already going on, that RODM will indeed support UDA in 2027. That tells you that these political parties are built on quicksand. They don't have any manifesto that they follow in particular, and they can change at any time depending on the circumstance. But the thing I see in a in a broad-based kind of government is the greed that now is happening. The kind of people who want to come into government. You saw Gideon Moi. He has been he's not been around for a very long time, but now there is something that is about to happen. You see the likes of Gideon Moi appearing. That we are now part of the Azimio team that want to probably join government. Mr. Black, sema kitu.
On Gachagua, at least he's doing something that as much as he's a deputy president and a public or state officer or a public servant, at least anaangalia watu wake. I can say that.
Kweli amesema ataanza kupigania na panya za Mwea na.
And the one thing that I've always liked about him, he usually deals with things that actually matter to the people. He addresses things that actually matter to the people. They may sound silly, but those touch the hearts of his people. Alipokuwa akisema kuhusu pombe, fighting pombe, those are real issues that they go through. When a leader goes there and says that our economy has grown elsewhere, our economy has grown by about 5.7%. I don't know. Those are things that wananchis do not relate with. But when you go to an area like that, when they are facing issues like panyas, snails, those are something that they can relate with. So you see, when perception is everything in politics. So you see, akionekana ana address vitu kama vile na anamshughulikia and giving specific timelines on Monday, So you see, that is something that he can be judged with. Like, if he did not achieve that by Monday, what he has said, then wanaweza kumpinga. But so far, everywhere I've been seeing him on TV, wherever he's visiting, and he gives those timelines. I've not seen anywhere where Kenyans in those areas wanakuja wakisema kwamba wajafanyiwa wamedanganywa, So whatever he's doing is effective politically. So Gachagua is smart. He's not as stupid as people used to say during election. He's a smart fellow. And ukiangalia upande ule mwingine his counterpart. These people elsewhere are talking different, you know. People are saying that he must go, but I don't see anywhere people talking about Gachagua must go. It means that as an individual, I don't think people have anything against it because anatouch watu where it matters the most. Thank you.
Can I say something there, Mzalendo?
Yes. And before you say something, Kimanzi, can you moderate because I want to be part of this conversation? Kimanzi, are you there? Boni. Boni hata all right. Temba, say something. Say something.
Just to highlight on something that Black has said. You know why right now Gachagua doesn't matter in the conversation right now? It's because Gachagua is a deputy president of William Samoei Arap Ruto. So any appraisal of the Ruto government, Gachagua falls straight up in. And that's why in some conversation you've had people saying that Ruto and his administration, including Gachagua, some people who are probably not keen on reading the constitution on what it says, I'll say that even he should be going because it is the whole administration. On the issue of Gachagua going, speaking to people's problems, one thing that I know Gachagua is a good guy with propaganda. So some of those things might not necessarily be the things that are going to be done, but he's speaking to he's propaganda. He's a propaganda driven person in the sense that in him imagines that if I say certain things, then I'm going to be convincing people to come onto my side, which is the art of politics generally. Yeah, so it works largely on half truths and repeating them many times. So someone actually was able to monitor the things that Gachagua had said, some of them that were not things that came to be true. I also have a problem with government policy being dished out like Moi days. We are back to that time where someone would come and just say stuff without, and that has been the problem with this administration. Most of the things are not thought out. Most of the things are more about it's like you are campaigning all the time. So you give some promises which are not policy guided. And you give a promise, then now you go back to create a policy around it, and maybe some of it backfires, which is what is happening in this administration. It is indeed important that every administration, whatever it is that they want to pass across, for it to be effective, there has to be a policy guideline. How is it going to be monitored? Is this something that has been budgeted for? What is it that and if you come and say that because you guys want schools, I'm going to give you 20 million. Is it budgeted for? Is this something that was already put? Or it is just to excite the masses at that particular point in time? And that's why this administration, Ruto, has found themselves in such a situation where they have too many things that they have promised. They have so many millions and billions they have talked about, but the policy guideline for that is missing. So if you go to a place like that, and Gachagua has not even consulted the Ministry of Agriculture, because some of those things should be dealt by the appropriate ministry, which should be the one giving the policy guideline on the things they are doing to particular things. But now when you find anybody going anywhere and giving different promises, gives the disjointed nature of communication in this government, which is part of what should be addressed by whatever agitation or governance reforms that are required at the moment. So I don't agree with the Black that Gachagua is necessarily more electable and more appealing to people. I don't think so. He's the most, in my view, I don't think is more popular in Central than even Ruto, because most of the people who came to UDA came because of Ruto, not Gachagua. So I also don't agree with the idea of roadside pronouncements that are development friendly. You go to a place just because you want to appeal to the masses, then you go about, brandishing figures or even talking about things that are supposed to be policy guided. If it's a policy guideline, we have too much administrative process before it gets there. There's an MP, even the CS, from that ministry, who should be pronouncing themselves to those policy guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Themba. One thing, Bonnie, you want to say something before you introduce me? You are umenyamaza sana. You are sleeping. You are going to moderate until we finish the show. Huh?
Yeah, I agree with what Deba is saying. Of course, Gachagua is depending on William Ruto. So if if William Ruto is not there, then Gachagua is not there. Again, Gachagua, of course, is one of the key guys there. And again, whatever Black has said, Gachagua always know how to address the people, and he knows how to win the hearts of the people. Because whatever I have heard him saying today, he knows how to get the epicenter of the hearts of the people. That is why he was talking about the snails, rats, where temporary irrigation scheme. He's a good guy. He knows how to solve problems that are affecting the local community, and that is all what Kenyans want. Kenyans, if you go there and to tell them about the GDP, about the national income, then they don't know what is that. How is that going to affect them? How is that going to affect the price of tea in their area? So they want those minor things, and that is what you make you win the hearts of the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bwana Kimanzi. You forgot you are the moderator. You should have introduced me as the next speaker. Umesahau. What I can say about Gachagua is real, and why I want to differ with Themba is that yes, Ruto looked for votes in Central Province, and he got a sizable amount. But you see, Ruto was not in Central Province 24 hours. Central Province has got leaders, and Gachagua is one of the leaders in Central Province. Ruto could not have gone into Central Province as Ruto alone. He must have been accompanied by leaders who campaigned for him. So those are the leaders. And Mount Kenya, as Gachagua has turned around the perception of people like Themba, who are saying that, Ruto got the votes of Mount Kenya because of Ruto and his differences with Uhuru Kenyatta. I think he managed to turn things around, and more so after the Gen Z demonstrations, people of Central Province have really come together. The people who are insulting Gachagua then, that is not popular, it is Ruto who is popular. People like Moses Kuria, the Ichungwa. I understand that Ichungwa cannot even go to his constituency at this particular moment. Yeah, despite doing so much in his constituency, and his constituency is Kikuyu. He has done all the roads, everything in his constituency. Anything that you can call a development is in Kikuyu constituency. But the locals don't want to hear anything about Ichungwa. They would rather listen to Gashagwa. So Gashagwa has turned things around politically. That tells you the kind of leader he is. Remember that Gashagwa is an administrator. He was a DO. DOs who worked with Moi are very, very strict when it comes to matters of administration and leadership. And when Gachagua, if you follow his history very, very carefully, Gachagua, being a DO, then to a presidential advisor, to one Uhuru Kenyatta, tells you a lot about who this man is. He's not just your local leader. He's somebody who has been singled out from a long time, from the Kibaki days, from being in the administration to State House. Then Kibaki handed, they handed Gachagua to Uhuru Kenyatta. So he has been in all those administration, and he has got experience in leadership. Even the rift, how he handled the rift between him and William Ruto. Look at how he managed to turn things against the president in his backyard. So that tells you much of who Gachagua is. So for me, I think apart from just being a villager, he is a strict administrator and honest. There are very, very few politicians who are honest nowadays, and we can all see the president is being accused of being a president who lies all the time. But on the contrary, his deputy is being seen as somebody who is honest and truth to his word. When there was a rift between him and Ruto, he really came out and said, things cannot go on this way, and not so many people would work in such an environment. Saitoti tried to work in such an environment. It didn't last. It lasted for a very, very long time until he was kicked out. Gashagua did not take a minute when things were going wrong. He didn't let things go on for a long time. When he already spotted that there is a rift between him and the president, he acted. And naona it has bore some fruit, and now he can smile, and the people of Central are back to working with William Ruto. Although I don't know whether this arrangement within the Grand Coalition will hold anything apart from the wrangles that are going to emerge in the Grand Coalition, because Raila Odinga cannot satisfy everybody in his base. That is one. The slots that have been left for Azimio to share, they are really going to fight for them. And it depends on who you know and how close you are to the principles of these particular parties, Wiper and and ODM. ODM have said that if the rest are not taking up the positions, they are going to take up those seats. Somebody like Martha Karua, she has got nothing to lose. She will definitely join government if given a position to join government. When we say a grand coalition, maybe there is something that they can rectify, Themba, just to correct you. Maybe a grand coalition can rectify something in terms of governance. We saw that in Kibaki Raila arrangement when they were both checking each other. There was no much graft in uh, in in both governments. So in a grand coalition government, there's a checks and balances. If there is corruption, it is minimal, like we saw between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. My only problem is that these guys wameingia kwa sherehe isiyo yao. I mean, they have taken advantage of the situation on a crisis that William Ruto would have solved by himself by just doing the right thing. But Mr. Black.
Mm, number one, uh, when you say that tayo point imenitoka, I'll remember it. Okay. I wanted to talk about those positions that have been left for Azimio per se.
Yes,
You know,
you go ahead.
that's a
Yeah.
Minister of Finance, Trade, Industry, Sports, Mining. You know, those are very, very um, sensitive ministries. Not to say that others are not, but in matters to do with things like finance, unajua ni kama anapeana handball Raila, you know.
It's a bait. It's a bait.
Eh?
It's a bait, and Mbadi would be your minister for finance.
Hiyo
Cabinet.
ni kama handball, you know. Anapewa ni kama anapewa handball because whatever mess that the government has already put us in, trying to entangle the current administration from it will take a lot, and I don't think the time that is left is enough to do so. But the only face that people will remember is whoever would be the present CS at the time we are heading to elections to start with. They'll not recall who was the finance CS before whoever will be appointed next. And all the mess will be put against, or rather all the blame will be put against whoever will be there. So mi naona ni kama handball tu anapewa, but how? But one thing nimekumbuka what I wanted to say, when you said Mzalendo that there will be less corruption and scandal with the government of national unity, I wanted to disagree with you. Already we had mentioned earlier on that when it comes to matters to do with holding persons in offices, being accountable for various issues, is going to be difficult with everyone being in one team. Then a lot will be happening behind the scenes, and they will not be highlighted by anyone because they'll all be in the same on the table. You know, in the words of Temba, the way he likes putting it on the table, collects on the table. Only when you're on the table, you don't speak. There's a lot of silence. You cannot be eating and speaking. So if you're silent, it means you're at the table eating. There is no way you could be on the table. So there's no way that the Azimio will be on the table or at the table, alafu vitu zinafanyika and then they highlight them. That will be impossible. We already saw COVID billionaires ilipotelea tu hivyo shwa, and other scandals in Kibaki's government kapotelea tu shwa. So do you think that the coalition government, or rather the government of national unity, is going to be any different? In my view, no. In my view, no. So I want to disagree with you on that one, Zalendo. That eti ufisadi itapungua, no. Itafanyika, but haitakuwa ikiangaziwa. Zitakuwa chini ya maji zinafanyika huko chini. And that is not what we want. Thank you.
Pemba.
I agree with actually I agree with Black. Mzalendo, if you remember the coalition government of between Raila and Mwai Kibaki was faced with the challenges because there was that demarcation of the ministers who came from Kibaki's side and the ministers who came from Raila's side. And at some point, when a minister would be asked, they would go back and say that one person is probably not following. You know, is trying to fire only our side. At some point, you remember when Raila agreed with the firing of Ruto and I think it was Ongeri. I think some of those ministers that went and they were from Raila's side. That is part of the reason that led to Ruto and Raila breaking up, and Ruto, Uhuru, and Mudavadi forming Remember when they were coming in the Grand Coalition, they are coming in as from the side of Raila. So Raila comes in as the prime minister, then they agree on who becomes the deputy prime minister. So according to the initial arrangement that they had, if they won, Raila was to be the president, Ruto was to be the prime minister. But now when things changed, and now the position they had was the prime minister, part of the argument was, okay, fine, now that we don't have a position for that you wanted, and there's a prime minister, then why don't you leave that to me? Then, of course, he took the prime minister. Then Mudavadi, I don't know what part Mudavadi was playing, but he ended up being one of the deputy prime ministers, together with Uhuru. You remember? So when the firing took place of Ruto, they blamed Raila that he didn't protect them enough. So is it going to be peaceful simply because they have a grand coalition arrangement? I don't think so, going by history. That is one. Secondly, I don't think black, for a government to be complete, there are 3 ministries that have to be controlled by the parliament. I think 4. That is defense, interior, finance. So there's no way Ruto is going to nominate, to allow another person other than someone who is in Kenya Kwanza to run that particular ministry. So for those, I mean, I want to run away from an imagination that the president can allow the key ministry to the government policy to be run by someone from another coalition. I
From
don't think.
ODM.
Yeah, I don't think that one is in my mind. I'm yet to conceive that. It is inconceivable. I'm imagining that Ruto will still appoint his person of interest to finance ministry. Probably he'll bring back Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. Probably he will bring him back, or get someone still from Kenya Kwanza. There's no way. And if he does that, then he will have probably given up on the idea of governance altogether. There are key ministries that you don't get out of the presidency. That is, I mean, finance, defense, interior. Those ones are key ministries to the governance of a country. You don't want to let someone who does not understand your policy, who does not understand what you're looking for, to be the one running the finance ministry. I don't think that black is gonna happen. And probably next week you'll have him announcing maybe the finance minister. I don't think he's given them slots, but I don't think they have reached a point that I've already taken my first 11. You take the other 11. I don't think that is where it has reached. It has reached probably that we will continue naming. If you guys agree, then we'll come, we see how many slots we're going to give you. So that is my considered view.
But I think Ruto having named his list of cabinet secretaries, in my view, but this is my view, the ones that were left, including that of the finance minister, were for Azimio. So I'm thinking that perhaps that could have been part of the negotiations between the president and Raila. You know, that okay, you take these ministries and then leave these other ministries to us. That could have been. And the fact that it will be a national government of national unity, then it wouldn't be any problem when it comes to matters of controlling the parliament to push through the agenda and the policies of let's say Ministry of Finance when it is headed by an Azimio nominee, because they'll all be speaking one language. So I don't think the presidency will have any problem handling that. Though whatever you said is right, in the context whereby there's no such government of national unity, whereby he would have he will have to ensure that he has full control of those three key ministries which we've mentioned, that is the interior, defense, and finance. But in this context, since watakuwa muungana na Azimio per se, then I don't think that will be an issue, because they will all be in one team. That is how I look at it.
Yeah, I think that marks the end of the opposition in Kenya. Well, it marks the end of the opposition because, and as I told you, Black, this guy Raila Odinga has simply given Ruto his support base indirectly. How are they going to come out of this in 2027? Look at the scenario in 2027. What is likely going to happen? The Raila Odinga maybe will be in AU, or if he loses that position in AU, will be back supporting his troops in government. So this situation will play into 2027. With the Raila ensuring that his key supporters are in government and they are in the cabinet. And don't forget the other positions which have not been occupied yet, apart from just being the cabinet. The other appointments that Ruto is yet to make. So we are seeing that, and he left it technically for any eventuality that the opposition might join his government. Ruto himself has been really wanting to work with Kalonzo in his government. I don't know whether he's going to succeed this time round, but if he succeeds, believe you me, Ruto would have successfully sent Raila Odinga home and taken over his party, ODM. And is it a good thing for the country? Yes, maybe that will be a good thing because we will have another political force by Gen Z or Wiper movement bringing the government to its toes. Themba, what do you think about this scenario?
Before
It's a
Temba
unique.
gets in, I wanted to add something that Temba said. Just sorry. Yes, you know, when Ruto, Kina Sam Ongeri and is it Nyachai? I think it was Nyachai. They were dismissed as ministers in the Kibaki era. It is actually Kibaki who came in to defend these people, and he even reassigned Ruto to the Ministry of Higher Education within the same government. Raila having, you know, dismissed Ruto and the group. So you see the issue of governments coalition governments or national government of national unity. They have never worked well. When it comes to accountability, it goes down the drain. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. Just wanted to echo whatever Temba said, that Kibaki actually saved Ruto and assigned him Ministry of Higher Education.
Yes,
Themba.
Black. Indeed, yes, Black, as you're saying, coalition government in our experience, because you can only talk from the history informs the present, and the way the coalition government of Raila and Kibaki reign, the challenges thereof were numerous, and part of the challenges were political challenges. There were challenges of, you know, political ambition and interest do not die just because you have arrived at an arrangement. Everybody sees, how will I fit into this particular political arrangement for the future? And so part of its complications and challenges were political in nature. The ambitions of Akina Ruto and the apparent nature of competition that they were looking forward to. Remember, they started seeing that Raila was going to be their competition in the next election after the coalition government. After the coalition government was set in place, they started putting. Ruto wanted to be president, really, but all of them wanted to be president, actually, for them to form the Pentagon. All of them had interests. You remember there was a Pentagon. So by the time they're coming to them, agreeing that, okay, Raila is going to take this part, and because he's going to be up. Remember the way they arrived on Raila? It was a vote. Guys came in, and there were different delegates coming to vote for all of them. Raila took the lead. I think who came second? Was it Mudavadi or who? Mudavadi? And then Naruto was third. Then Uhuru. So I think they were like, okay, fine. Raila will be president. Mudavadi, I think, was to be the deputy president. Ruto was to be the prime minister. Then Uhuru was to be the deputy prime minister. That was, I think, how they were arriving at those arrangements. There was also Joe Nyaga and I think Najib Balala. So if we can remember that, how it later came to pan out, the challenge thereof was numerous. Is it going to be easy right now? Now, Mr. Lendo, I want us to think the background at which we are talking about these things happening. We have only about 3 years to the next election. And this is now where you are trying to convene and come up with a grand coalition government. What time will they take to settle in? What time? There are other things that come in because of the personal interest of each individual party member. And then, of course, the personal squabble in the event that, okay, fine, everybody trying to outdo the other because they have certain political ambitions, which do not die just because you have come in as a coalition government. So I think, Mr. Lendo, it might look like it's going to be seamless, but we might be going, in my view, to a new problem, which might then, again, either postpone, derail, or make it harder to achieve the so-called developments that you want. But there's something you have said, Mr. Lendo, that I think I do want to agree with. There's no political vacuum. A vacuum in the event that then these coalitions have come together, then in my view, that will be a grand opportunity for those people who will not have been involved in that particular grand coalition to fill in that vacuum. It will embolden the Gen Zs and millennials and activists who seem to have an opportunity right now that if they do want, they can organize, strategize, and mobilize well, and feel it in a very, very good way by starting to campaign right now for 2027. In my view, I would imagine, instead of continuously talking about, oh, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. Yes, Ruto will go. Ruto will go after 5 years, Ruto will go after 10 years, Ruto will go. But if you plan so well, if you mobilize so well, you strategize so well, it might only have 5 years. So they need to develop, the national activity alone might not be enough to remove a president. Remember how many years during Moi days that the young Turks, Akina Raila, had to continuously have their activities for them to reach a point where now they reach that critical mass. Because KANU had grassroots mobilizing power by then. But it went slowly by slowly, election after an election, for Moi to find even a time to say, okay, fine, I agree to a multi-party democracy. And for even after agreeing, he had to say that I'm not going sitasimama tena baada ya miaka 10. You see, it took him to now accept, because the critical mass had been reached. Have we reached that critical mass? Has the Gen Zs reached that critical mass? I don't think so. In my view, they do not have the grassroots mobilizing capacity. They may be popular in the media and all, but I don't think they have reached that grassroots mobilizing capacity to ensure that they have a critical mass that can actually remove a president. Can they do that? Yes, they can do that between now and 2027. They can go down to the grassroots. They can make sure that whatever they are saying resonates with the common one across the generations, so that it is not just, we are not talking about just Gen Z, whatever. We are talking about a Kenyan led revolt, a Kenyan led, we understand what they are saying, and we have this person who stands for what, and we are going to support that person. That was where Kenya reached in 2002. I'm imagining if there is to be a vacuum, then that would happen. And probably they would be able to feel, and whoever will be stepping in at that time, probably they may benefit from maybe the discouragement of people, the dissatisfaction of people with this particular regime, and maybe the fallout that may come thereof.
I agree with you because the current situation, if somebody is very, very bright, I am seeing a lot of opportunities. I am seeing the Tawe movement by Natambea trying to make political moves. The tribal arithmetic, even despite the Gen Z is really trying to fight it very, very hard, it will also be seen a lot in 2027. But more so importantly, the Gen Z will be the biggest factor in Kenyan politics in 2027. Whoever will align themselves to Gen Z movement will carry the day. I don't see William Ruto carrying the day in 2027 with these recent reappointments of the cabinet secretaries. He missed the test. He had got the best. Ruto had the best opportunity to turn things around in his favor, not by incorporating Raila Odinga and his team in government, but by actually doing the right thing. And the right thing that these young people were demanding, and Kenyans in general were demanding, is an end to corruption and a dissolution of the cabinet and a reappointment of a new cabinet that uh, will represent Kenyans effectively. That is what they missed. Black. Oh, Themba.
Yeah. Now, just before Black comes in, I think Azimio, I mean, Mzalendo, one thing that we need to get so clearly here, and I could be wrong. I don't think by asking the president to reconstitute and dissolve his cabinet, it's a realistic thing. You are taking basically his last line of power that he has. The president has the responsibility to appoint and reappoint whoever persons he thinks he needs. There's no chance that whoever is going to appoint is going to do something different. In any case, even up to right now, there's an argument. Do you think, is it that those people didn't perform, or is it because the president himself made them not perform? You see, so there's already a lot of argument. So whoever comes in, like they say, if a fish is rotten from the head, it doesn't matter what you put in the tail, it is still rotten. So I don't think demanding that the president dissolves his cabinet, or he recycles, he bring in a new person, he does this. It is basically trying to tell him to give you over the power that he has as a president. In my view, as a president, he should be able to put up a team that is going to deliver. If the team cannot deliver, then we sack them at the vote. Demanding a dissolution of that whatever, I don't think is realistic in my view. I mean, I could be wrong. And to me, the best thing that Ruto would have done is be more practical with his reform agenda. Those things did not require even firing or whatever the administration. Things like austerity measures, they did not require firing any cabinet secretary. Things like reducing budgets on his office, it did not require any cabinet secretary, any firing. Things like changing those ministries where those people are not working. You don't have to fire, you don't need the Gen Zs to make noise for you to fire people. You just needed to make reshuffle all over. From one point to another. Kibaki also fired his cabinet at some point, you see. So we don't need that. We need a president who can be able to be very decisive with his administration. It's not the people, it is the person at the head. So I don't agree with that. And I also don't agree with the idea that this Gen Z's movement right now will have a major direction. It may have a slight direction to the politics of 2027. I hold the view that it will be different. They say a day in politics is too long. This could be the existing thing right now, but come 2027, between now and then, something else will have come up. And if you ask me, we might still have the traditional voting patterns coming in. At the end of the day, probably 2027 will still be organized the way we have always been organized in our voting pattern. Gachagua will go, because now we are still saying Gachagua speaks to his people. Do you want to tell me there are no Gen Zs in Central? There are Gen Zs, but why do you say that he's speaking to his people what they want to hear? Because we are still organized around tribal lines. So it is possible that come 2027, the same way we are organized is the same way we'll be. And Mzalendo, I will be listening.
All right, thank you, Temba. You've been listening in. I'm expecting more people to come in. We had another live feed that was going on the background, so it has just ended. So more people are going to join in. Black, do you think that this arrangement could possibly change the political tides in Ruto's political tides in 2027?
First of all, today I was listening in to the discussions that the Gen Zs were having, and there was something I heard they say. They spoke about now embarking on political moves when it comes to propaganda. I think it's an awakening, I think, from their side, that not only do they go to the streets, but they would need to also involve themselves in propaganda. And amongst the things I heard them say, they mentioned something to do with them now speaking to their parents, going to churches, about telling them about how bad the government is, and say propagandas about the president and his party. And in a way, I found that to be a very smart move, because if these Gen Zs can manage to do that effectively, then that's it. Because we already know when they speak about parents, it means they're talking about our age group. And if they can manage to convince us in our age groups to think otherwise, because we are the people that voted him in, because we believed in a manifesto. Personally, I still believe that manifesto is good. But if they can manage to convince us to think otherwise, then I think 2027 UDA will be losing. That's the reality. If they can manage to convince all their parents by virtue of propaganda, then It's gonna be
know,
very tough for the president.
Black Gen Zs don't need propaganda. The writing is on the wall. So many people have died, and that will be a case in 2027. That will be a very, very big case in 2027. Why I say Ruto had got an opportunity to amend things. Even if he needed Kindiki and Kinadwale in his cabinet, he would have put them in another position as the president. But in 2027, you've sat in those deliberation. I have sat in most of them, and right now there's a clarion call that they pick IDs, pick your voters card. Make sure that you have voters card. I am telling you, that election will be very, very hard to rig. Take your voters card. Take, and in each and every household, averagely there are two Gen Zs in each and every household, averagely. But most of but you'll find that where there are two Gen Zs, they can communicate to how many people? How many people can they communicate to? Who are their age mates who are going to turn up to vote? Then you look at yourself, how many people you can convince to come and vote on that particular day for William Ruto. You'll find that there are very, very few. There are very, very few, but they can speak their language and convince their peers in the easiest way, more than what we can do to convince our friends who are tribally inclined or who cannot follow the manifesto of any of the party, but they will vote because of the favors that they are going to get from that particular individual. Now, that is where the problem is. The the election in 2027 will be about policy, and again, it will be about our history. Our history. What happened in 2022? Did Ruto turn around things? Yes, 3 years, 2 years down the road is a long time. But let me tell you, this year is over. We are starting from next year. If we politic halfway next year, those houses are not complete. He has not done any major projects. He doesn't have a finance bill at the moment. We don't know what will happen to the finance bill. And the issue of the finance bill is the reason why is probably bringing people like the Azimio group into government. And what is the sign? What does this tell you when a president decides now that is going to work uh, with the opposition? Do you think, Black, honestly, that this was Ruto's idea?
For what?
uh,
For
to work
having
with with the Raila Odinga and his team.
to be honest, I don't know if it was, but I do know that the fact that Raila has always had the perception of being the saint, if I may use that in quotes, having the um, good interests, the best interests of Kenyans, then I mean at heart, then having that incorporated into his government would change the perception of men, you know.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he would essentially have won at least half of the war, psychological warfare, um, with this fight against the Gen Z, just by that move in itself, you know.
If it
So
was, if it, this is my take. If it was informed by, if it was informed by uh, by Raila's, mass following to counter the movement, then that would have been his decision. That, if I get this man in my base, let us see whether these Gen Zs are going to go in the streets. We will have counter protests in order to support my government. Now, if it was the international community telling him, hey, please, try to bring the opposition leader. He has got enough following so that the government can be stable and all that. Then it is an idea of the development partners pushing Ruto to incorporate Raila Odinga. And why am I saying that could be the truth? Gashagwa since then has gone very quiet about the issue of incorporating Azimio into government. Don't you think that Gashagwa by now would have been jittery and saying things? Mm.
I think Gachagua is playing smart by unajua ile kuingiza mguu moja ndani mguu moja nje, because he also has political ambitions, so he doesn't want to seem so much into whatever is happening right now. At the same time, by the virtue that he's still the deputy president, he doesn't want to seem like he's out of it. So that's why you see him blowing hot and cold, you know. He's trying to look at his political future as well. So huwezi muona akiattack, at the same time huwezi muona akiwithdraw sana. He's playing smart, you know. But with the appointment of the CS, there is something that is gonna come out. Now, if the government will be, or rather the president will be successful in achieving most of the plans as was envisaged in the manifesto by the time it's 2027, then people will think or believe or will have the perception that the CS that he had chosen before were the problem. But if the government fails, having appointed second time some CSs, even with the government of national unity being in place, and still they fail, then the view would be he is the problem. So it's a tricky situation when you look at it, you know. And I don't know how it's gonna get around it, but that is how it's gonna be viewed. Wakifail, watu watasema yeye ndo shida. If they succeed, then at least he will have someone to blame that the CS ndo alikuwa kwa shida.
Osam is saying that Kalonzo Musyoka is another watermelon. No, Gashagwa is another watermelon. I don't know. Gashagwa doesn't look like a watermelon. Watermelon. Really, I don't think so, Osam, because Gashagwa has really tried to be himself and address the issues as they come. But in this particular scenario, anataka Ruto ajikarange na mafuta yake the way Black is saying. Yeah, but he has been steadfast in what he wants to achieve for his people. That is the Kikuyu community. He has been very, very reluctant about talking to other Kenyans. He normally addresses his community, and that is what tribal. That is what our country is all about: the tribal politics. The Luya factor in 2027 will play a very big role in the politics. And if the Luyas can get their act together and be united, be united, then things are really going to change in our in 2027. One thing, Black, you agree with me when you listen to it, to the resolutions by the Gen Zs. I don't know which how the government is going to split that movement. Always remember that 8 million Kenyans did not vote according to statistics. Now, this other group did not even bother to pick their IDs. They are picking their IDs for the first time. They have now realized that the question that they've been asking about jobs and opportunities are actually in government. Yeah, in government. And if they can push the government to dissolve and do the right thing, then they can as well run the government. So the Gen Z is a factor. The young people in Kenya and throughout the world is a very, very big factor in elections, and they are the majority. So let us not rule them out. Black, we will take a break for another 1 hour. We'll be back later at around 10 American time for to just wrap up and catch up with other Kenyans who are waking up. Your last word, Mr. Black.
Um, my last word is gonna be based on my last sentiments, which I just made. I think the president would need to be very cautious and very smart in his latest appointments, and more so in the remaining cabinet slots that are yet to be, whose occupants are yet to be named. Because, like I said, 2027 is going to be judged with the outcome of what this second cabinet, which you have named, how they're going to be, how they're going to perform. Because if they perform well, then they will redeem him. And then Kenyans will at least say, okay, you know what? The problem was not the president. The problem was the list we mentioned. But in the event that the cabinet which he will mention fail to perform, then the perception would be that he would have been the problem, and that would hinder or hurt his chances of being re-elected again in 2027. So the nominees of this cabinet are going to be very essential and will play a very major role in his re-election or lack of it in 2027 by the way that they will perform or misperform. So I think lazima awe makini sana in his election right now. That's what I can say.
Oh, thank you, Black. Awesome is saying politics is resources. Where will Gen Zs get the money to run a campaign, knowing that the next campaign is 2027 will be the most expensive in the Kenyan history? That is why they are going to win the elections, because first, if they are supported by these other foundations, uh, then John Soros Foundation, they always come in handy. Uh, they supported those the young people in many countries in Africa to cause a revolution. So long as they believe in your ideology, there are so many foundations. Center for Multi-Party Democracy. Those are the foundations that really support these causes. The civil society has been running for years, and some of them are really politically affiliated, putting the government on check. They get donations from Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. There are so many organizations out there. As long as you have a good proposal for them, they will give you money. And even as it is right now, I saw somewhere that the Gen Zs have already received a lot of dollars. I don't know whether it's $10 million from donations. So the donations are out there. People are willing to come in, give them money. Even the people in the diaspora are willing to come in and chip in and sponsor this kind of movement. So long as there is accountability and they are not split and they know what they want, it is a force that you cannot ignore. You need either to work with them other than just ignoring them. First, they outnumber the political class. The votes that Raila Odinga and William Ruto combine is the population of the GNZs together. So, using just only even data alone, Gen Zs in a free and fair election, they will always win any elections, right from the grassroots to the top seats in government. That's how I look at it. But Black, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, you know, like we were talking about having a government of national unity. Despite the accountability will be of leadership will be very difficult to come by, but the fact that the opposition will be in government and so holding these CSS government officials to account for any mismanagement is going to be very hard. But if they perform, because at the end of the day, we all want to have positive outcome. If they perform and bring about the positive changes that Kenya needs, then that will be great. Nobody would even mind that the administration will be working with the opposition. Nobody would mind that. If they perform, wow, that would be great. Tukiona Ministry of Agriculture inafanya poa, tukiona Ministry of Mining is doing well, tukiona Ministry of Tourism is doing well, and it turns around the economy of Kenya, then that would be great. It would be great. So I don't think it's a personal issue. It's more about performance issue. I mean, people fearing that wakiungana hivi then hakuna mtu ata hold account watu wengine, but kama watafanya kazi poa, then that will be wonderful. At the end of the day, we all want the best. So my prayer is just that at the end of the day watufanyie tu kazi poa na tupate tu proper outcomes out of whatever cabinet that they are bringing in. And then there's one thing that we failed to talk about, ni kwamba niliona mahala amesema eti Kaluma, that MP said that the CSS that are going to be reappointed, that hakuna haja tena kuwa vetted. I mean, if that's the case, then I think that is that's going to be very funny.
Mimi nakwambia sarakasi imeshaanza ndugu yangu Black. Sarakasi imeanza. This guy Kaluma, sometimes they have got very interesting statements. Yeah, like walisema, you know, if you don't want what Baba is saying right now, then you better just leave the party. Toka kwa chama. Sasa ni wakati wa Ruto na Raila Odinga kufanya kazi pamoja. So kama ulikuwa shabik wa ODM, lazima sasa uanze kushabikia UDA vizuri popote pale ulipo, kwa sababu wale jamaa wanafanya kazi pamoja.
Yeah, because wakisema hivyo eti kwamba eti mwenye anakuwa reappointed hakuna haja tena kufanyiwa vetting. Sasa ni jokes, you know.
Lakini mimi
Wenyewe mimi upenda Kenya yetu bwana, ni nchi nyingine ya maajabu. Upenda nchi yetu.
wewe hii nchi waga ni nchi ya maajabu wewe. Okay, now we have in an open mic. I will not have a structured show, but an open mic just to say anything that you feel that is happening to your country. Hebu nikuulize sasa Black. Now,
Yes.
hawa jamaa Raila Odinga ametukana Ruto mwizi sijui mara ngapi
Mara mingi sana.
Now do
Kimwitanga Zakayo.
do they have a cautious? Mi nauliza tu yani do they reflect like, okay, I've been saying this about this as a leader, and now he's a good man, and we are going to work with him now. When does it reach that point?
That's why I'm wondering, you know, wakisema that
Ni kama kukatia dem, unajua wenyewe huyu dem mwenyewe ni mzii, ni mwagli, yani ile hakuna mahali mnaenda naye, although hakunaga mtu mwagli, kuna mtu tu atampenda mahali au dem and then kuna time una turn around unasema ai, lakini unajua mi kuna vile tu mi ukupenda, unajua wacha tukae pamoja
Hiyo
na
time ni ile anakuokolea. Unajua kuna wale watu, kuna
anakuokelea
wale watu ukiwa
kuna vile
ukiwa kijana kama unakumbuka. Okay,
unaokolewa, ni njaa ulikuwa
kuna
nayo, so hii njaa
ndio kuna wale wenye walikuwa wenye sasa ule wako main amelenga kutokelezea,
sasa
but kuna wale wenye walikuwa wanapigiwa hata ikuwe time gani ya usiku wewe hawezi kufail. Na unajua hao ndio wanakuanga wale mademu wang'ong'o yenye ungependelea.
Umeleta hiyo hado ng'ong'o, umenikumbusha rafiki yangu mmoja anaitwa Mwanaza.
Hata ikuwe saa 5 ya usiku, saa 6 ya usiku, huyo hawezi kufail. Anatokea
dem akismile ni kama nalia.
Huyo hawezi kufail. But unajua since anaokolea ile time yenye
manze ameokolea
ingine ni kufail. So ndo kama hivyo sasa,
kuna uzuri yake yote. Sasa siasa yetu pia iko hivyo bwana. So Ruto sasa Raila amepata huyu dem ni mwagli ndio, lakini itabidi tu
anaokolea anaokolea ma injury time.
Hii ni njaa, ODM iko na njaa, hiyo ni njaa mbaya sana.
You know, akileta the issue of vetting, you can imagine sasa mtu kaa Kindiki anarushwa tena parliament vetting. Sasa unajua hizi vitu zenye imekuwa ikifanyika sasa, aanze sasa kuulizwa, you know, they would automatically throw him out, you know, out of that nomination position, you know? So ukiona Seka Kaluma anasema venye anasema mazee John, is very interesting.
Mimi nakwambia situation vile iko,
hata sarakasi ya rezo yetu anatufanyanga like sana. Kwa mwingine smart, Mkenya ni Mkenya.
Imagine hapo US ati unamka siku moja baada na kwa anasema wenyewe vile mmenilemea, wacha tuambie Trump ako na policies poa, so wacha tumingize tu kwa gava Trump na nani na Biden wafanye kazi pamoja.
Buda bana, age yetu bana ina maajabu.
No, hiyo kuangaliagi hizi vitu. Yaani hao jamaa wamekuwa kitukana na each and every day wakisema policies za UDA bottom up ni mbaya nini. So and ukiingia kwa hii serikali ni which policies are you going to implement?
Mimi naweza taka sana kusikia mtu kaa Sifuna. Sifuna ameenda chini ya maji sana sasa hivi.
No, you watch Africa na one of these fine days you watch Africa chini ya maji. Watu wengi sana watch Africa hapo, waja subscribe to Africa ni wengi.
Naweza taka sana kusikia.
Sasa imagine niliambiaga watu Sifuna ni comedy, unaona? Ni comedy ile, yani unapenda kuwatch kama Churchill live, unaiwatch unafurahia, unaridhika. Mzee ametoa story noma sana. So unacheki Sifuna anapiga hizo kelele zake zote vile UDA ni government mbaya nini, lakini mdosi wake wanakunywa chai na president.
Sasa niulize wale ma MPs wenye kwa kisema eti wamejiuza wameenda kwa na government. Sasa itakuwaje sasa? Itakuwaje sasa?
Niliona Jalango sahihi, yeye yuko na raha, Jalashi yuko poa.
Of course. Nani sasa ataita mazake msaliti? Hiyo story itadisappear.
Mimi na sahihi Jalango yeye ndio waganaenda kwa jikoni analetea baba sukari, kama sukari haiko kwa meza. Unataka 2, anamwekea 2. Unataka kunywa nini mzee? Glenfiddich 15 years,
Sasa nasema those MPs that they say that had betrayed them, now that they're going to be working in government, will they keep being regarded as traitors?
Now, this is the confusion. ODM and Baba, they have taken their supporters for granted. They have put them in a situation, in a confusion, and they've taken their support for granted because one, their supporters were all over abusing William Ruto in any social platform, anywhere, name it. Hata wacha ni download wacha ni download zingine hapa kabla ni tuishie. Ni download zingine tu hapa tucheke kidogo. Uone Sifuna yani vile yani yuko up and about na stories za UDA vile hii serikali ni ya wajinga.
Venye shiti usema utaambia watu nini?
Sasa ni yani your favorite comedy ndio zangu. Sitiza wewe jamaa yeye unifurahisha sana.
Sasa utaambia watu nini? Sasa nashinda Sifuna utaambia watu nini sasa? I mean, how, you know? Gonga kavaa sana. Sasa sijui ataambia watu nini. Sasa
ameenda underground. Ameenda underground.
Hajaongea sasa hivi. Kaa wiki sasa hajaongea. Tangu ile presa yenye alisema hiyo, alikuwa anasoma karatasi yenye imeandikwa, anaweza sema si yeye kuandika, anaweza jitetea hivi. But ever since then sijamuona kwa media house venye kwa kitokeanga daily asubuhi unamwona kwa hizi ma talk shows, ma debates.
Si nilikwambia hiyo ilikuwa ni satire.
Ni vipindire.
Ilikuwa ni kuprepare wase, yani unajua manze base baki intact. Kuna ile saizi kwa siasa unajaribu ku maintain base, unajua base yetu lazima we maintain na story fulani na story fulani ni UDA, because they cannot go and start saying that UDA is very very good nini but base lazima ikuwe maintained na una maintain na propaganda na kuchapa wale watu wengine, hata kama ni stories za uongo, but lazima maintain hiyo base. Wacha tusikie Sifuna akiongea juu ya bottom up.
Question whether truly there are people that are hurting in this country. Are they there? And what's the solution?
That you said people are hurting some. We are also part of that people who are hurting. It's not as if we are immune or from the ravages of the economy. I just wanted to say a few things. First of all, it is clear. You can see that when an idea is not yours originally, you will struggle even explaining it. You can see what the difficulty that my brother Maura is going through, trying to tell us the how. I want to hazard a guess that these people in Tangatanga have never actually spoken to an actual Mamamboga. They have never asked an actual Mamamboga, what do you need to do your business? Because in their mind, Maura will show up with aprons emblazoned with a wheelbarrow and give Mamambogas in a market and take pictures and say they have solved the problem of Mamamboga. The Mamamboga who wakes up earlier than you do, Maura, because you were late to this show, she has to go to Marikiti by 5 a.m. to wait for mboga that is coming from up country. She trades in mboga. So how does that mboga get to her? A government that sits somewhere and plans an irrigation scheme is thinking about the Mamamboga to produce the mboga down there for the mboga to get to her. We have cases of mangoes overproduced in Elgeyo Marakwet. We saw photos in the newspaper of these mangoes rotting on a road. Because this bottoms up from our friends. Instead of, for instance, building that stadium that I've challenged them to build so that the young talent can come up, those runners make more money than we do, and the government has done nothing for them. They wake up and run on bad roads, but they have the talent. What you need to do is to help them. If Mheshimiwa Koech, you build the dam in Kimorer, then now you call for a Harambe to help these young people to buy fishing cages, to help them to buy boats, to do tourism on the lake that is a result of your construction of a dam. That is bottoms up. They can be able to help themselves to rise up. But you disappear the entire dam. It is not there. It is gone. One person then comes back with those millions to say, now we are going to do a Harambe to raise the profiles and the support of these young people. It is dishonesty. Number two, we have a system of sending money to the grassroots. It's a wonderful system. It's called devolution.
governor here has a fund to be able to build markets for that mama mboga that you talk about to leave the roadside. She needs to thrive in an environment that is dignified. We were proposing an increase of money to governors like Lee so that he can build more markets and ensure that he is able to accommodate all the mama mbogas in Nakuru County. But the people who opposed those very grand plans are here telling us about bottoms-up approach. We had a proposal to have a fund specifically for the Article 43 rights. This mama mboga needs access to water. You are not going to be able to sell vegetables without water. We want to create a fund to be able to provide water, to provide a school for her children, under the rights to education, to provide health care so that when she's unwell, she can be able to reach a dispensary. When you are talking about thinking about the small person, these are the things that you need to think about. We are to discuss how you reduce the cost of production. The saloonist, if you ask her, what is the biggest cost here?
Policy positions are articulated in manifestos, not in video clips. There is a manifesto, a document that lays out what you're planning to do.
Some don't defend them. Let them defend themselves
please,
here.
Allow me to be heard in silence, Sam. Please, you need to protect me from this class. What we want people to understand, Sam, is that you cannot have a conversation about amendments of a bill or a proposal when they have already profiled you as a person who cannot give any reasonable ideas. You see, one of the most interesting things is that when you hear leaders such as the whip saying, we will pass this thing, wapende wasipende, without alteration of a comma, and I see comments on social media sometimes, people asking us, where is the Azimio alternative budget? Where would I take that alternative budget to whom? Because every single Kenyan that has spoken, including yesterday when Kwame Owino was trying to explain how this housing levy is a bad problem, is a bad idea, we woke up this morning, he has been labeled an Azimio person. Just because you disagree with this, what they do first is to label you Azimio, then to dismiss everything that you have said because it's Azimio. I have said on this show that personally, I accept that it doesn't matter if I came with a letter from Jesus himself saying he has sent me to speak to William Ruto. He will not listen to a word that I am saying because they have profiled us as people who are just noisemakers. They say we are the choir that accompanies preaching during church. So it's okay, but listen to somebody else. Sam, if you go through the list of the people who have appeared before this parliamentary committee, it is private sector, it is manufacturers, it is importers, it is unions, it is civil society, it is the church. All of these people surely cannot be wrong or sorrow. No. And what we are saying is because the court has already pronounced itself on what Article 10 means when it says there has to be public participation. It cannot be a cosmetic exercise for just ticking a box saying, yes, we have done public participation. The views of Kenyans must reflect in the final position. And the only way the views of Kenyans can reflect, because we have seen those views, you people have covered those proceedings live. Kenyans have said we reject this thing in total. Now, Sam, I want to discuss something that is very dangerous in our democracy. Separation of power.
We mtu wangu Buda, sijui watu wataambia watu nini. Sasa hizi vitu zote wanatuambia hapa if kama wata implement venye wanasema, venye ina sound so easy. If they can implement this and really ensure that it really works out, then we can say that the president was wrong in his way of managing the government. But if at all they will still be included or incorporated in the cabinet and by extension be part of the government and still they fail, then tutasema bana jamaa kina Sifuna bana, hiyo ilikuwa ni makelele mingi walikuwa wanatupea. No, ndio maana nikasema come 2027, if by that time then Gava ita achieve positive outcomes and positive growth, even having incorporated these guys, then utajua ilikuwa tu panganga alikuwa anatupea. Unaona, na Sifuna tunaweza sema ilikuwa panganga, but kama ata achieve then hiyo ni poa. But unajua kitu fani sasa hapa ni hii venye kwa kibash Gava, alafu sasa hii naweza taka sana yani wamuite tu kwa hizi matoko yote.
Hakuna yani tumsikie sijui wamehepa bwana, wametoa AD sijui nani. These
Sasa
guys
mtu ataongea nini?
hawaonekani. I want to see them on TV bashing William Ruto. Sijui watakuwa wanasema nini. Saizi wamechanganyikiwa bwana. They need to, I think they will have to, you know, in politics lazima utafute the next enemy. Gachagua pia huwezi piga vita sahi. Yeye yuko kwa serikali mbaya sana.
Sasa na hii story nimekuwa nikiona ati mavijana majenzi wanasema wataenda kuoccupy JKIA. Unaonaje hiyo story?
I don't think you know millennials wale pia are anti-Ruto's government have also hijacked the situation. So what the people who are really unasikia hii story, the people who are really pushing the Gen Zs to another agenda which was not part of the agenda ni hii hawa watu wa Azimio, hawa watu wa pande wa opposition. Yeah, when you saw them hijacking the conversation, ukienda kwa X, yani unapata people of our age group ndio wana participate hapo wengi sana and pushing an agenda of a revolution. Ruto we must occupy JKA and all that. I think kina Anifa and their team, they had got an agenda that they wanted to push. These agendas that we are seeing all over the social media, they are confusing. You don't know whether they are coming from the Gen Z. You don't know whether they are coming.
JKIA bana, ile ni critical infrastructure bana. You know?
Yeah, you know, once you occupy that then it means that hakuna ndege zina land na na hakuna vile sasa utawatoa hapo aje. And by the
Ile place ni sensitive bana. Wanasema wanaenda kulala kwa runway.
But these kids are crazy. They can do that if they because hizo vile wanaongea wana watch movie mingi sana na watch nakwambia yangu wewe
Wanasema
black
ni movie.
yeah, we si ni movie we black wewe ukikuwa young, do you know the things that you could do
Nyenyewe.
Yeah, there are things that yani anakwambia twende tu mnaenda. I remember the things that we used to do, and just out of peer pressure, you can do so much. You can do so much. They have tested their power. I think they are going all the way. Black, let me leave the conversation. Kuna mahali naenda for a meeting. I'll be back
Okay,
maybe
sawa.
after an hour or two. Thank you guys
Okay.
for being a part of the discussion. Awesome. Asante sana. Penny Nyagaka, you didn't come in today, but see you later when we open another show. Asanteni sana, awesome for being there. Gypsy Corner, asante sana kwa kuchangamka. And of course, those are the earlier panelists, people like Pemba, who are earlier in the show. We like your insight. Be coming to Africa. Make this Africa your mother station. Tafadhali kama una watch Africa and you have not subscribed, please do subscribe to Africa channel. Thank you for keeping me company up to this time. I am Muzalendo and see you later on. Asanteni sana na mkuwe na siku njema.